Welcome into another Tuesday night evening blend. I am Pop Blender, and with me, as always, is Matthew Matson, and we shall go full screen. A witch's brew of sorts with Komodo dragons. What the hell is happening here? It's out of control, dude. Your use of lighting is always fantastic. What do you have there, brother? What's
So,
going on?
so this is from the deluxe dungeon set from Savage Crucible. It comes with 4 plates and a bunch of skulls and rocks and chains and these two guys or one of these guys and a bunch of other stuff so you can create your own dungeon floor with skulls and rats and all kinds of different stuff on it. I've got some pictures that I put out and more that are coming. Incredibly detailed.
Yeah, those
And
look
then
amazing.
I think I already posted the picture of Serpentor getting attacked by one of these guys. And then this is something that I made this weekend. I've been sitting on this for a while. This is a buzz bomb,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then I just took off the top and spray painted it. Left the bottom there so I could shine light through the bottom, and it will come up through here. I just put cotton in there for some smoke for an effect I was working on. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, we watched the Black Cauldron, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had that sitting on my shelf, and I've been meaning to do that for a while, so I just tore into it and got to working on it. I still need to put maybe another coat or two of paint on it, but
So, for those that don't know about buzz bombs, that is a Mario Brothers uh, enemy, so to speak. Am I wrong about that?
yeah,
I am wrong about that,
yeah,
or am I right about that? I thought it was in Mario Brothers, right?
they were called bombs.
Bombs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, buzz bomb, but some of the goofiest names that you'll
Yeah,
actually find.
no,
Yeah.
Buzz Bombs is an alcoholic beverage,
Well, and God knows I've had more than my fair share.
and they come in those little balls, and they have different sizes of them, and
Hey,
so
well, uh, as
I didn't even bother
creative as
drinking it.
always.
I didn't even bother drinking it. I just popped it open, poured it out, and then cut into it because I'm like, I'm not touching that shit.
When I go to the liquor store and I see those things up by the register, and they got them usually in little plastic cases, right? And they got all this, and I'll ask the guy every now and then, depending on who's there, but I'm like, have you ever had one of these sex on the beach
Yeah,
buzz bombs? Have you ever had one of these um, whatever flavor,
yeah,
Long Island tea, right?
right.
Apricot, whatever. I can't imagine, and I don't blame you for not drinking it. I can't imagine what that must be like, it I guess for girls, for parties, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because at first I was like, are you using a Mario Brothers like bomb thing? I'm like, no, no, okay. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
But
Thanks
Buzz
for
Ball or Buzz
something
Bomb or
I've
whatever.
definitely, yeah, whatever. Something I've never had. I can tell you that. For me nowadays, listen, all this hair on my chest, man, it's just straight for me, buddy. That's just give it to me straight. Oh Lord, story of my life. Yeah, been so busy weekend. Busy weekend. I'll get into it just a little bit before we get into the numbers and such. Yeah, busy weekend, man. Football. All right, football, and I'm a fanatic. My son is turned into a fanatic, and so it's been just an absolute pleasure to like talk football with him, and not just
Nice.
like go team,
Yeah,
defensive schemes,
yeah, yeah.
right? Player formation, the whole 9 yards. It's been so much fun to do, and I am a total football nerd with statistics and years and player, just all that stuff. So,
I was so
so
bummed about the Bears.
yeah, actually, I was too. Because since the Steelers got eliminated, I was rooting for Chicago and Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and both of those teams got eliminated. No hate to who won,
Yeah,
but I was definitely bummed, and I hated to see the way the Bills got eliminated. I thought that was whatever. You can't turn the ball over, right? And that's
yeah.
both teams did that. But yeah, I'm with you. I was hoping the Bears would pull that through. I thought it would be a lot of fun. teams that we haven't seen in the last 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl, and now we're going to get teams we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was filled with football, it was filled with sword fighting, it was filled with making a little trip here or there, and also college talk.
Oh boy.
About yeah, and I think it's settled on maybe the school and all that,
Nice.
and so that's exciting. Better late than never. I can tell you that. Senior
Whatever.
year and all that, but yeah, man, it's awesome, man. So yeah, it was a very busy weekend, and then right back to work, and we are now about to have a snowpocalypse
Yep.
in a few days.
It's
We are
about ready to hit most of the country. I mean,
they're
we're
at
looking at Friday, Saturday,
yep.
freezing precipitation, and it's probably gonna, if it sticks around here in Texas, it'll close school on Monday.
Oh, it's now your weather a little different from ours
Yeah.
this time of year, but still can obviously get cold. But yeah, it's like 8 inches to possibly like a foot and a half for us.
Yeah.
We'll
So I think
see.
our predictions are 0 to 7 inches.
Okay, yeah,
And the way that the weather works down here, it doesn't usually stick. Sometimes it does, but very rarely. If it sticks on Sunday, then it'll be closed on Monday because by midday it'll be fine. It'll be gone,
yeah.
but it'll
But that
it'll
much.
shut the buses down in the morning. And Texas does, well, at least in our area in Texas, doesn't do late start.
Oh, okay. Well, we do, but with that much coming, I don't expect it. With the temperatures, it's going to be 7 degrees on Sunday
Yeah.
night. And so, yeah, it could be a little funky Friday, really late night, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, possibly. So we'll see. Getting ready for that. So I need to probably keep myself busy because I probably won't be able to make it to work, or we will close early. So
Yeah.
that cuts out a couple of my shifts. So
Yeah.
it is what
Friday's
it
going to
is.
be a tough night. So yeah, there's because that's when it's going to start coming.
Yes, sir. But being cooped up means that football on Sunday. So if I'm cooped up, then I'm all
Uh,
all about it.
I've got a class that I need to take this weekend, and if it doesn't happen, I won't be able to make a makeup version of the
Mm.
class. So we'll see
Okay.
what happens. But I'd rather play in the snow with my kid. So
I do not blame you one bit. I love it. If it's going to be cold, I want to see some snow. Not all the time, but a couple times a year,
and
I'm
I
good.
need at least one time a year where I could get my snow serpents and snow job out and play with them in the snow.
Well, actually, yeah, for photography, definitely. That is the other positive, right? You actually can get some in your area, and it doesn't do much in our area either. So if you're going to get out and do some, I know 3 Star Draws probably maybe a little excited about maybe getting out some stuff. Snowcat couldn't come soon enough. Let's see here, bouncing around a little bit. Just want to say hey to a few people real quick. Clint Jorgensen is in the house. What's up, Clint? Yeah, we got some pretty good stories to talk about. It's stuff right
That's
in our
what she said.
wheelhouse. Hey, Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions. What's up?
What's up?
Todd C,
Go Bears.
the one and only Ronnie Trickshot.
What's up,
It
Ronnie?
hanging pretty good, pretty good. Like I said, expecting you're expecting 0 to 8 inches. You said that was what
Yeah,
they
0 to 7.
that's what
Whatever.
they told me as a baby. And so far, it's held true. Yeah, Bills did get screwed on that call. Clint,
We're talking about that. Then that's totally different number.
hang on a minute. And yeah, Todd, for sure. The billionaire owns the Broncos. You'll be seeing them compete for a while. Yes, but they do have a hell of a coach. And yeah, no snow in the ski resorts in Utah. Strange.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a weird one right now, but
Yeah.
this is a better season for their snow, at least up in Wyoming. I know
Okay.
January, February, March is when they get some of their best snow.
Interesting. I've never been skiing, and I'm scared to actually go and learn now at 50 because I'll
Yeah,
probably break something.
it's pretty brutal at 50, I'm sure. I've been doing it since I was
Yeah,
4.
yeah. Now is not the time to learn water skiing or snow skiing for that matter. And yeah, have you in fact been hanging out with Punk with Toys?
No, what he has is very different, and what I
Uh,
have is nothing. So I don't know.
yeah, I don't. I don't either. I don't either. But Yeah, voice still hanging in there, man. The winter kind of plays tricks
It's
on me.
it's been dry. It's been
Mm,
so dry here that
yep.
I've been having to
Yep,
drink
yep,
a
yep.
ton of water right now.
Same here. Same here. Okay. So we do have some stuff to get into. Obviously, we're not going to talk weather the whole time tonight. But
That's the old
so
man podcast for later.
that yeah. Oh no. Speaking of podcasts for later, I am going to be doing. I do have some stuff to do when we get done. Um, and so I am going to be doing an unfiltered tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central. So maybe drive time for some people. So I actually am going to be doing one tomorrow afternoon, and then I have to do a stream. Do a stream with 3 Star. Seven's Wild later that night. But I actually will be doing an unfiltered. I was going to do a double one tonight, and but I do have a couple of things I need to focus on, and it'll take me a little bit, and so just push it back too late. So I'm gonna do it tomorrow afternoon. So if you guys are out driving around doing drive time or whatever, then maybe tune in. And I got some stuff saved up. I do have some stuff to go over. So, but tonight, as we say, hey to Stu for lunch. How you doing, brother? Big nap after physical therapy, always good, right? Especially if it wears your
Recovery.
ass out. That's for
Yeah.
sure. And we're gonna go over a few topics. So I'll give y'all a lay of the land before we jump into numbers. Tomorrow, Todd, yes, there will be some Minneapolis talk for those of you that are interested, and some fantastic videos because I love watching people act stupid.
Oh, I've got to send you a video later that I don't know if you
Please,
saw or not, but yeah,
please do.
yeah.
So look, to give y'all a lay of the land, we're going to talk about Dunk and Egg, the HBO Max series. It is a Game of Thrones world uh, story,
It's
and
in between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones.
exactly, and it's pretty concise, right? It's a completed story, right? So
Well,
they at least I guess to my knowledge anyway, or at least what I've read about it, because I know less than you do for sure. But at the
so
very least, it's something they're able to kind of tie up, unlike Game of Thrones,
exactly.
more
So
satisfactory.
right. So there's three novelettes that make about one novel worth of material, and it does complete a story arc. So I mean,
Okay.
you get the outline, the big picture of everything about these characters. It introduces, well, not introduces, it shows the origin of some of the characters from Game of Thrones that we are familiar with. It shows some ancestors of the people in that show. And George says he has about 10 more stories he wants to tell with these characters, which he'll never do. But currently, as it sits right now, the three novelettes that are out complete a story arc.
Okay.
Uh,
And that's what I'm at least looking forward to, right? Is
yeah.
is
If they
is
get through the 3 seasons, I think it'll be good. The
well off to a good start
Yeah.
in my opinion. And we'll talk a little bit about it. Primal has been released on HBO Max, season 3, episode 1. I know you didn't get a chance to check it out, but I think for people that are interested, have probably seen some preview material prior hand, maybe seen a little teaser or
If
maybe a
if
couple
you
minutes.
if you haven't heard of Primal, you've got 2 seasons to catch up on, and we'll kind of set the premise when we get to talking
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, and it's riveting enough that it's one of those shows. The first 2 seasons,
Yeah.
because they're being released weekly, so the first 2 seasons you'll want to binge your way through it. It's
Yep.
that addictive. It's that cool.
Yep.
So we'll talk a little bit about both of those, and then a little bit of news. We're going to show the image of Sophie Turner dressed as one Lara Croft. And then we've got some Matt Damon and Ben Affleck talking about kind of the state of movie making, Netflix and their kind of dialogue, how they approach dialogue and or exposition in their shows, and what they like to see out of people making stuff for Netflix. And Ryan Johnson has to defend himself from Kathleen Kennedy basically lying about him. At least that's what, from his point of view, that's what this is coming from. So we got a few things to kind of sink our teeth into a little bit, and one, a couple quick little things that I'm gonna throw in there The biggest show of all time on Netflix. You may or may not be surprised what it is. So we will have that. Bigger than Stranger Things, if you can believe it. But as always, let's jump in quickly because it is that slow period. But we're going to jump into the numbers and just take a look at the box office because that is what we do. Not a lot of change, really, but we
There's
do
not a
see
lot out there.
there's not a lot out there, but we do see something making a return. I always find it interesting, and we'll see it on here. You guys probably already see it on the list, but Avatar: Fire and Ash, makes sense. It not doing as well
Nope.
as the prior two, especially here in the States, is definitely not. But the series, it's already printed money, right?
Right.
Like it's already made money and just is continuing to do so for 20th century, which, I mean, 20th century, I guess, technically
It's
Disney.
Yeah, it's Disney.
You know?
So
So it's interesting, right? 28 years later, the Bone Temple. I've actually heard some pretty good reviews about
ooh.
the Bone Temple, and I've heard some bad reviews.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard some bad ones.
I have. Zootopia 2 is hanging tough, animated feature that you actually give a thumbs up to.
Whoa, hanging tough.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Good pull there, buddy. You had that cassette tape. I know you did. Um,
Not
new
me.
kids. No new kids for you.
No.
Okay. So yeah, Zootopia 2. You liked it. You give it a thumbs up, right? You say, hey.
Yeah, yeah. Zootopia
That's it.
2 is good. It follows in the vein of the previous one, and it's quality.
Followed by The Housemaid, our lovely Sydney Sweeney, and the lovely and talented Amanda Seyfried too, which can't go wrong with either one of them.
Yeah.
And it's actually been doing pretty good. The last week versus this week, not a terrible drop off.
Yeah.
For that movie at all. Marty Supreme, if I don't know a ton about Marty Supreme, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that
Well, they're not doing a
appealed
very good job
to me.
of promoting these
Right.
movies.
Primate, which if you're a horror fan, is a very schlocky horror. By the title, I'd say you know what you're getting into. I did hear a couple people that I watch walked out
Wow.
of it after about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And one of them, I think, was the one Alan Ing, actually.
Really? He
yeah.
doesn't walk out of anything.
No. Lord of the Rings, I think he's only walked out of 2 movies, and this
Yeah.
is one of them. Lord of the Rings. So this is the one that I wanted to talk about. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. All right. 349 theaters, bringing in about $3.5 million to add to the tally.
Cha-ching.
And then we'll breeze right past Greenland 2 and Anaconda and SpongeBob because
Aren't they filming Greenland 3 right now? Oh, sorry.
what they're doing in Greenland. But you see Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and Return of the King also, right, hovering a little over $2 million a piece. Not bad. Not bad at all. To re-release those and add a couple million, $3.5 million, each film to the tally.
Yep, we're rewatching those films right now. So my daughter requested to see them again, so that's what we're watching.
I love it, and I got to say, if you have a chance, if you want to brave the theater, and I can understand why people don't want to, if you want to brave the theater, like that's something worth seeing if you didn't get to see it.
Well, and I will tell you that the masterfully of the filming process of that movie holds up all the time, every time. The 4K remaster is the best quality film that I've ever seen in 4K, and the Lord of the Rings is perfect in the adaptation to 4K that they made. They everything was perfect. The graphics, the resolution, it's impeccable.
Frame rate and everything. Sometimes it can get a little wacky.
Yeah, so 4K is the best the human eye can see, and film. Because they were in that mid transition of digital film, and then the CGI effects that he used were so sparing. It was mostly for background stuff, and then some modifications on Gollum, even though Andy Serkis was there with motion capture and stuff. So the technology that they used in Lord of the Rings is better than what they're using today,
Well,
which is
there's a lot better about what they did
yeah,
than
well,
today, right?
because he used so much practical, it was easy to blend the CGI of the time in that film, and like I said, it holds up on 4K, so it's amazing.
I think the perspective, um, I think that is the way they were able to film to make people look smaller or bigger.
Oh yeah, yeah, the forced
That's
perspective and stuff.
Yes, that is the
Yeah,
fascinating part to me when you're watching a scene and you don't even realize that the actors are nowhere near
yeah.
each
It
other.
was truly an engineering feat to film that, and also using split focus in a way that we had never seen it before. Split focus was a big thing in the 70s and some of the 80s, and it looked horrible. I mean, you could see the line across the screen between the
Yeah.
two different focal points. But now today with CGI cleanup and some other techniques that they used, the way that they filmed that was phenomenal.
Well, even having to build the floors like X
Yep.
amount of feet up, and they had to actually move, right? They had to move different parts of the set
Yeah. Yeah.
while filming
So you're doing
to
this whole thing, and
that is wild to me. If you ever get a chance out there to watch the extras on the old school DVDs
yeah,
and watch the interviews and they talk about it and how they made it, it's fascinating. It actually really is, and
yeah,
it's just a testament to the ingenuity and the outside the box thinking, right? And uh, compared to today.
yeah.
With just everything, and but yeah, if you ever get a chance, man, they're great extras, man. It's something I miss too with physical media, is those extras, those interviews, the behind the scenes, and then you get these fake ass AI behind the scenes short videos that are actually fooling people
Yeah.
out there. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, look
it's
at this
bullshit.
video from Ferris Bueller's Day Off where they're all posing for a selfie and it's in
Yeah.
4K, and it's and people believe that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know how you feel about it, buddy. AI, fun at first, goofy, play around with it, get you some pictures, make some little videos. I think people are going to get pretty worn out on it.
I mean, AI is like a high school girlfriend, right?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, right? Magical at first. And then you find yourself looking at that wrestling cheerleader that couldn't quite make the football cheerleading squad or the basketball cheerleading squad. By gosh, her self-confidence and determination got her on the wrestling cheerleading squad. And you catch her eye, and you know what I'm saying? You catch her eye, she catches yours. Magic happens, and you leave old AI behind. I really do believe, though, that there's going to be, if not already, some sort of backlash. I mentioned this.
It's a tool. It's always going to be around. People are going to use it,
Yeah.
and it will make some things easier. But some of the uses of it right now are just out of whack. It's like why are you doing this?
I just think that, like, in terms of like the videos, right? YouTube videos, they're fascinating. That you guys some of you out there may have seen some of the Star Wars material
Yeah,
that is being made, which it is good, it is compelling, but it's also extremely lifeless.
yeah,
I like what's been done, and there's a couple Star Wars channels that do a good job. You can tell they're refining it and refining it. Um, and because they're not using, I say Chat GPT, but they're using other AI tools, they
right.
kind of are outside of the restrictions Disney has put on creators and on Google for having videos on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah,
And so there's a couple creators that are doing some great stuff, but it's still very, just certain issues. But the reason I bring it up is because it's the AI photos of certain things that
yeah,
I text you about, where it's
yeah,
just kind of
yeah.
like, are we doing this again?
Yep.
Is this what we're doing? It's kind of like, okay, it was cool, but we don't need to show them off all the time, right? It's you can find that stuff if you want to, but
Yeah, I
God,
mean,
it just
it's
gets
just
old.
like, okay, just whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Stu says we have no business with AIs, 50-year-olds for sure. I mean, again, like you said, look, it's a tool. It's gonna be around. There are some interesting things you can do with it, but I
Yeah.
just feel like there is already beginning to be a bit of a backlash with people because people have been fooled by videos of athletes saying stuff, videos of
Yep.
politicians saying stuff, and some of them are done so good that, for instance, when the Broncos quarterback broke his ankle near the end of the game this past weekend, people didn't believe the breaking news story from certified sources because they thought it was an AI picture. They thought it was
Yeah.
an AI video.
Right.
And so that's where it gets really weird, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep.
But anyway, all right. So let's see here. I tell you what, we'll save Primal and Dunkin' Egg for a minute.
Yep.
I did tease this. It won't take long. Uh, that's what my ex-girlfriend told me all the time. This won't take long. Gosh, I hate it when she's right. Okay. I still can't get over it. All
38
right.
seconds.
Oh, no. Inside baseball there. Okay. Yes, Clint Jorgensen got it right. K-pop Demon Hunters is Netflix's most watched movie or show ever, and it's not even close. So if you
Yep.
thought Stranger Things, if you thought maybe an Adam Sandler movie or something like that, no. And I love this because it shows just how huge the film was.
Yep.
It has, just to get down, because it gives you some numbers, and I think these numbers are hard for us to parse out because we still don't understand what constitutes a
Right.
view.
Yep.
Um,
A view on YouTube is different than a view on a streaming service. And depending on the
yeah,
streaming service, they calculate views differently. Like Amazon or Prime will be, if you watch 2 seconds of this, you watched it.
or for instance, I know that there was cheating going on where if you fell asleep and you left
Yeah.
it on the menu, and it kept playing like the
Yeah, that's
trailer
how Rings
thing
of
over
Power
and
got
over.
most of its ratings.
Dude, like, yeah, right. Seriously, it would count you as like, looking into, so we don't know what all these numbers mean, but it says that, the animated hit, all right, it says accumulated a ridiculous 481.6 million views worldwide in the second half of 2025. It says far and away the most views in a 6-month period for any title, movie, or series ever on Netflix. Okay, now
Yep.
again, it says here all figures in this story are based on the company's first party data, unless otherwise noted. I think all of them are kind of fudging,
Yeah, of course they
whatever,
are.
because we have no way of proving it. But nonetheless, it said that it had 3.5 times as many views as Happy Gilmore 2, which was the second Netflix
Really?
list of films for July through
Oh, okay.
December.
Okay. Yeah.
For that whole several month period. Paw Patrol the movie got 37 million. Wow, good old Paw
Woohoo.
Patrol, man. For those of you who have kids, you know about Paw Patrol. But nonetheless, it says that, stretching back to its premiere on June 20th, it's totaled more than 540 million views worldwide and it's still
Still going up. Yeah.
racking up.
And they've been slow in the merchandise, but every time merchandise comes up, it sells out pretty quick. So they've been struggling to get merch out there for K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, it's I gotta tell you, I watched it. I liked it. The music is good. It's not my thing, but the music is good. The vocals are good. The story is a good story. It's a fun movie. I would recommend it. I mean, it actually is. And it doesn't. Good luck trying to dig through it. I mean, look, you can find stuff that we talk about all the time in a
Yeah.
lot of things.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a good story. It's got a good message,
It's got a
and
good
it's
message.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I recommend it. I mean, it is what it is. If you like anime or you like animated stuff, and I love animation, it's worth a view. It's worth a check out for sure, man. But yeah, that didn't surprise me when I saw that.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, well, where does Stranger Things end up on this list? And it actually it says that let's see, season 2 of Wednesday actually outdrew the end of Stranger Things in the
Yep.
second half of the year.
Yep.
So that tells you where people feel about the end of Stranger Things. I mean, people tuned in, but I think when word of mouth got around, fewer
Yep.
people
It.
tuned in
Boop,
than
boop, 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 boop.
would have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I firmly believe that that definitely was a big deal with that. Now, you sent me. I want to show this because everyone here knows who Steve Buscemi is. Okay? I know you do. And you sent me this Steve Buscemi formula, and I had to show it to everybody. Okay, this is the Steve Buscemi formula, where you take Steve Buscemi and you add him to another celebrity, and you get what would be, I guess, their not offspring, but their diabolical scientific creation.
Yeah. Clone. Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's zoom in a little bit, and as we say, hey to 3-star draw and Giraffe, what's going on, y'all? The Steve Buscemi formula plus Macaulay Culkin equals John Waters. Add him and Alexander Skarsgård of True Blood fame and Tarzan fame, for those of you. And you get one Bill Skarsgård. Also, almost a dead ringer for a very young Tom Brady, in my opinion,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
How about Steve Buscemi and Christina Ricci? You get Shelley Duvall.
The next one's my favorite.
This is good. Steve Buscemi, Jim Carrey equals Don Knotts. That is fantastic. Truly fantastic. Steve Buscemi, Mads Mikkelsen, John Devlin. Now, this is... I only wanted to show it because, like, I thought it was the goofiest thing out of left field that you could share with me. And we don't have enough Steve Buscemi talk.
We don't.
Right? Not anymore.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what he's up to lately. I mean, I don't know if he went back to firefighting and rescuing people like he did in 9/11. But
yeah. I mean, if this was, if this was like 1999, 2000, we'd be crushing it with this, right? This would be a great bit. But unfortunately for Steve, he's on the back nine, as they like to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's only going to get very specific roles and probably voice roles and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure.
His Tarantino days are probably done.
I would say so. But man, he has done some amazing stuff. And for a guy, I mean, look, folks, for a fellow that looks like that, he's done pretty A-okay in my book. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
He's done all right.
Yep.
Holy moly, those teeth. No,
those
I kid
teeth,
because
man.
I care. I kid because I care. I only say it out loud because I can't help myself. But But anyway, all right. So I kind of want to get in. I kind of want to get into this. What do you want to pick, Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, or do you want to get into the Matt Damon Ben Affleck conversation about things we've been talking about for a while now?
Yeah, either one. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Tell you what, we'll jump on Ryan Johnson. Theoretically, okay, because that sounds disgusting. But
and you mispronounced his name. It's
Oh, I mean, it's Rian.
No, it's Ruin Johnson.
Oh, that's right. It's Ruin Johnson. Well, we know what he ruined.
Everything he touches.
Holy shit. Okay, so found this story. This kind of came out. This is on IGN, but you can find it in multiple places for the most part. Um, okay, Kathleen Kennedy did an exit interview. Okay, recently, and she named the projects that she felt that maybe the only one she really didn't feel great about was Solo. Okay. But she did an exit interview and she talked about the different projects and what she feels proud about and blah, 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 right? She's getting all her accolades that she's going to get for nothing. But in that exit interview, she actually said that instead of making the trilogy, right, that he was supposed to make for Lucasfilm, after The Last Jedi, he got spooked by the online negativity. So she's putting that on him. She's saying, that wasn't us. I had nothing to do with, I don't know, firing multiple, directors on multiple
Yeah, I mean,
projects.
she's fired more directors than she's hired.
Right. So she's saying, no. It was him. He got spooked because everybody hated The Last Jedi and felt like he ruined the sequel trilogy or Luke Skywalker, which, I mean, look, he did.
Yeah,
Okay.
objectively.
Right. So, but she said, no, that's on him. And he responded on X with a post that says, LOL, zero spooked, sorry. Him basically retorting and saying, no, that has nothing to do with it. Now, there hasn't really been any further, like he hasn't expanded on this, right? But it led me down the rabbit hole somewhat of looking into Kathleen Kennedy and some of her statements she's made about Star Wars and about
Yeah.
what they had or didn't have to work with. And it shows you the level that people will go through or go to not take the blame, especially her, which I think we both agree should take the blame as being one of the worst executives of all time in burying a franchise that was one of the, if not the most successful of all time, and ruining it to the point now where no one gives a shit about it.
Yeah.
I don't think Rian Johnson was the only one, right? He wasn't the only one. Now, 3 Star says, look, I didn't hate it. It was the best of the three. I will not argue with that to a degree. There are some things I liked about it. Okay. I thought The Force Awakens as a rehash of A New Hope. But I thought The Last Jedi was more interesting, at least, with what he tried to do. Okay. How do you feel about it? I guess, like, what are your thoughts on Last Jedi as far as where it sits in
Last Jedi is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It completely gutted and eviscerated everything that is and was Star Wars and let us know that Star Wars is dead. In the hands of Kathleen Kennedy and that Lucasfilm, Star Wars is dead. And they killed it with that movie because they completely eviscerated everything. The entire heart and soul of what Star Wars is was ripped out and burned. Right? I mean, drinking blue titty milk, throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder, dying because he overdosed on the Force, never getting involved with anything, being a hermit and a pissant when the galaxy needed him. The whole backstory of Kylo Ren and Rey finding ways to connect to each other is dumb as shit. And to see that Ben is just a whiny little bitch. And so is everybody in the First Order. Those people couldn't survive because they're a bunch of whiny little bitches. You had a terrible moment with this forced, whatever with Rose Tico and Finn.
Oh God.
Where she sacrifices herself to save him and whatever. But the whole potato sack thing, to have a moderately attractive woman look so frumpy on purpose, was really weird choice there. And to completely eviscerate Finn. Finn had an interesting character arc in The Force Awakens, and then they completely threw it all away. And each and every character that was in that movie was horrible. Admiral Holdo, give me a break. She's the worst leader in the fucking galaxy, and she's supposed to be this great leader. She doesn't know how to lead herself out of a paper bag. If you know anything about leadership and communication styles and how to bring troops under your guidance and all that other stuff, you know that everything she did was fucking wrong. And it should have led to utter destruction, but she pulled a magic trick out of her hat, which had never been done before and never should be done ever again or whatever. And it completely changes all of the physics of the Star Wars galaxy forever with that technique. So, it's terrible.
I wanted to give you the room to get all that out, because the truth of the matter is I don't think you can actually dispute any of that. I don't know that anybody could really dispute any of those points. Now, I'm not saying somebody might not agree to an extent with
it looks pretty though.
Right. So it's like, ooh, wow, that move, the Holdo maneuver, right? But like,
Well, the movie was shot very well. Cinematography on that was great.
Absolutely. But all those points make sense into making it why a lot of people don't like it. I mean, they just do, because it does ruin certain characters that were very beloved. I think the cast probably was very confused.
Yeah.
Filming that movie, everyone.
Yeah. Well, I know the actor who played Finn was really pissed because they sidelined his character basically into a goofy sidekick instead of being a lead. He was promised to lead from the first movie.
Well, I mean, but and that's why I say objectively, like everything you listed is true. Like those things actually did happen. It's not made up. It's like those things did happen. Now, where people fall in line with what it did to maybe a certain character or here or there, like, okay, it's fine. Everybody has their opinions about that, and that's fine. But to me, that's why I was like, look, I'm going to give you the room to say all that because you're going to be able to lay it all out. But I agree with all of that. I just think that the biggest failure is not truly having a plan and passing the baton, right, along to the next person. So then you give someone a blank check to just create their own story that doesn't really match up or make any sense with what you just saw previously. And so yeah, all of that, and me, I agree with in my book. After I first saw it, at first I was like, okay, that was interesting. There are some things that I kind of like what they did, expanded on a little bit. But as a whole, after sitting back after a couple of days, it's kind of like, man, that, they really did screw over Luke,
Well,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
I told you my experience leaving the theater with my wife. We get in there, and the entire car ride home was silent. And that never happens after a movie. We're always talking about the movie, but that was silence. It didn't until we pulled into the garage, and we're like, I really don't think I liked it. My stomach is upset. I feel like I got punched in the gut.
It was,
and that was from walking out of the theater. I'm like, wow.
No, and sometimes you have that, excuse me, that reaction, right? Visceral kind of, either that or the stunned reaction. But
yeah,
no matter what you think about The Last Jedi, the interview that Kathleen did with Deadline, this will give you guys a little more context about her comments, okay? Let's see. Dreadnought K6, what's up, buddy? Says the last 3 Star Wars movies are bullshit. Even the fight scenes are trash. I can't argue with that at all.
There were some moments in that Praetorian fight that I thought was interesting. With Rey and Ben.
Some of the worst choreography, though.
There's a lot of misses happening there, but there were some interesting ideas that they had in there that I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. So everybody gets psyched about it, but if you actually watch it, there's a lot of flaws in that scene.
No, I agree, and then I had to add this because yeah, look, the just tilt the ship, okay? I'm sorry, like just tilt the freaking ship.
I
Like
mean,
what are we doing
the
here?
the rise
Like
of
what are we doing?
the rise of Palpatine was a cartoon rehash of trying to stitch together the remnants and the dead Frankenstein body of Star Wars. I mean,
It
it
was
literally is. It's a bunch of dead parts sewn together to try and make something.
a lot of moments. The navigation in the ships, it's like just fucking fly up. Like I don't understand any of it. It made it absolutely and literally no
Had
sense.
no sense.
But the comments from Kathleen at her interview says, quote, once he made the Netflix deal and went off to start doing the Knives Out films, that has occupied a huge amount of his time, talking about him not being able to continue Star Wars projects. She says, and then I do believe he got spooked by the online negativity. I think Ruin Rian made one of the best Star Wars movies. So she says, I think he made one of the best Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, and he got spooked. That is the rough part. When people come into the space, I have every filmmaker and actor say to me, what's going to happen? They're a little scared. Of course, this is also her blaming the fans again for...
It's everything but leadership.
It has nothing to do with the writing or the script. It has nothing to do
How
with
many
the story
scripts
outline.
you threw out? How many treatments that were far better for each movie that you threw away?
Do you remember the original like storyboard and artwork that was put out originally that had all the really cool like not Dagobah but like Ben Solo seeking out this old Jedi master or this old
Yeah.
and you go back and look at that stuff and you're like, man, that would have looked really cool. Now, of course, they threw George's treatments in the trash. George had a lot, and so
Well, so to be fair, I don't know that many people would have enjoyed George's
agree.
treatments for
I
the
agree.
last three movies because of what the story that he wanted to tell, knowing that it's all about the wills and all that stuff. There's too many people that don't know anything about that. That it would have been a miss. So they needed to do a version of Heir to the Empire or something like that. The
Yes.
Jedi Academy trilogy or something like that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely can't argue with that. I think some of the video games and other materials that we
Yeah.
had that they could have pulled from, sourced from. But the reason I kind of brought this up is because Star Wars Theory made a video recently, and he's got some clips in it that I kind of wanted to play that I thought was pretty interesting. And it's Kathleen Kennedy in her own words, okay, and talking about what they did or didn't have to work with when it came to Star Wars, and I'll play it, and you'll understand where I'm coming from. All right. So let me go ahead and share this. And I saw this today, and I thought this was pretty interesting because it makes a lot of sense. And this is something he clipped and put in his video. So if you want to watch the whole video, go to Star Wars Theory. It's
Great Star Wars YouTube, the best Star Wars YouTuber.
Yeah. So let's take a listen real quick. And this is him just saying, this is Kathleen in her own words.
General. And if you haven't seen that, I'm going to play it right here.
The main thing is to protect these characters, make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them. We don't have source material. We don't have 800-page books that we're adapting. It's the standard, what would George do?
And obviously we have hundreds of books and comics and everything you could possibly imagine.
We don't even really have comic books that give us a great deal. We have an idea, we have a mythology.
I have story treatments of 7, 8, and 9 and a bunch of other movies. And
George Lucas never wrote a script for 7, 8, or 9. And the
That's not
ideas
untrue.
that I think you're referencing are ideas that he had for other possible movies.
and I had
No.
the story treatments or
Treatments,
outlines.
yes.
And,
Outlines,
and
not
we were
scripts.
just-
So she
we were working
wasn't
on scripts.
lying.
Since I didn't use my stories, I have no idea what they're doing.
And then I do believe he got
So you're right. And when I saw this video, that's exactly it. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Is that yes, no, he didn't write scripts. He had
he was also
treatments.
terrible at writing scripts.
100%, yes. Treatments are a completely different thing. That could be a notebook full of just ideas and a loose outline of films. And I agree with you. Looking at what he was wanting to do, I'm not sure that would have gone over. But I also find it funny in these clips of Kathleen saying that they don't have hundreds of pages of books or comics or nothing to pull from. Yeah,
completely clueless. And you know what else they threw away? They threw away 40 written episodes of Star Wars Underworld.
Already written, just too expensive to film.
Well, but they had some of them that were actually recorded, right? So they actually had a couple of them done. But there were like 40 some odd scripts that George had written or was a part of writing called Star Wars Underworld for an animated series that they wanted to talk about the seedy underbelly of Star Wars that could have been adapted in so many ways that would have been so much better than so much of anything that Disney was doing.
Yeah, and the reason why, okay, and I get it, the Disney hate, but here's the deal. You have it in, and this is the Lucasfilm part of it. I'm not making these words up. I'm not putting words in her mouth. I'm not saying, like, I'm not the one who writes the movies. I don't write the shows. I don't select the actors. I don't cast the people. I don't shoot the effects. I don't create the stupid Vespa fucking gang. Right? Okay? That's not me.
Right.
So me not liking that shit, I think is valid criticism. I want to like it. I want to love it. It's very difficult to do that. And we just went over a list of several things about just the sequel films, let alone all the TV shows, right? And the other crap. But the reason I want to show this is because then not only in her own words does she lie, but then she's making shit up about Rian Johnson, who then has to come out and go, that's not what happened at all. I'm probably sure that whatever he presented at first probably got turned down. It probably got mangled into some whatever the hell it became, to where as long as it propped up women, as long as it propped up Rey, then Luke Skywalker be damned, right? That was the goal of it all at the end of the day. Right. And so, but this is her lying through her teeth about not having source material, not having books, not having comics, nothing to pull from. And then she said, we have a mythology.
Well, and she doesn't even understand the mythology.
No.
But I don't think that what Rian Johnson said was accurate either, because I believe he was taken aback. You know, he may put on the bluster and saying, if I didn't piss off half the audience, I didn't make a good film.
And I remember that. I remember him saying that.
He did say that.
Yes.
But I also think that the backlash was so hard that he's like, whoa, I was expecting some pushback. I don't know that I was expecting that much pushback, because he did lose interest, because I don't know that he actually submitted anything, because Kathleen Kennedy would have given him the moon. She loved The Last Jedi so much. She would have let him make whatever he wanted. And so he either didn't produce anything or just half-assed it and said, I'm really not interested. I want to go do this other thing now. And he moved on to the Knives Out series, which is also trash. But anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, look, I know about him.
Detective films for mentally deficient people.
Because the thing of it is, he is, Rian Johnson is famous for or not famous for saying, but like, I want my films to make 50% of the people happy and 50% of the people pissed off, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a weird outlook about your films.
Absolutely.
I think it's just strange to me that that's your goal.
Right.
But I understand the spirit of what he's saying.
The spirit of what he's saying is, I want to antagonize people.
Right. So that's kind of my thing. I just, ultimately, especially that little snippet from Star Wars Theory's video, because he has people to mine for that stuff, for one. I'd take a while to search for it probably. But Point
Well, to
being
put
is
all
that
those clips together,
you put those clips together and you listen to them, and
because I've
it's
heard
just
every one of those clips
yes.
in totality,
time after time after time after time, and you ask the questions, but there's your answers right there. You know what I mean? I mean, there's your answers. Joe,
What's up,
Lara 42, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Graph? Your next comment there. I don't know, because George Lucas is an idea man. The execution needs to be done by somebody else, somebody that
Yeah.
he trusts and can work with to make that, because George Lucas unfettered doesn't make good stuff. If he was
I agree.
if he was unfettered making Star Wars, we wouldn't be talking about Star Wars right now, because his original treatment and what he wanted to do with it wasn't good. You know, you have to look to James Kasdan and Marshall Lucas and a couple other people that helped guide and mold that first movie to being what it was.
Yeah, and through editing, right? I mean,
Yes.
obviously, and you know, the soundtrack and everything. I think either way, I agree with you. I don't know that George was the right person. I think obviously, and we've talked about it. Look, after the
Yeah.
prequels and just, you know, he was probably taken aback. That's why I guess in a way I don't find it as
That ultimately what led to him selling is
right.
the backlash that he got from the prequels, and you know, he got disillusioned at that point and was unsure what he wanted to do with the property. And now he's completely washed his hands of it. He doesn't have a second thought about it. He sold it. He made his
No.
money. He's made his statements. Once they shut him out of it, he's like, oh, okay, this isn't mine anymore. This belongs to the white slavers. That's a quote from George Lucas, by the way.
Right.
You know, he sold it to white slavers. That was exactly what he said. You know, they aren't using his treatment, so he doesn't know what's going to happen or where it's going to go. You know, he's pretty much washed his hands. He did not even want to include Star Wars in the museum that he's building.
Yeah, it just has one section, and
Well,
and
he
look,
didn't want to include it, but people pressured him into
Right.
putting it in there.
But I get it. Look, you spend basically your entire adult life for the most part, and this is, you know, what you're known for, and you embrace that for a bit. But then
Yeah.
I'm sure eventually you're a creative. You want to do other things, but you can't escape it. And
Well,
some people learn to live with that. Some
Yeah.
people do not learn to live with that.
I think
Right.
Lucas is a great collaborator.
Yeah, and some of the things he's done with Spielberg, right? Obviously, and then other people taking his ideas and molding them, and you know, writing out a script and everything. But yeah, look, the famous part about him going into the room to write, you know, the Phantom Menace, and there's some cringy comments in those DVD extras and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, and he's like, I think Jar Jar is the key to all of this, and it's like, oh, you know, it's just.
Well,
There is some stuff there,
and in the Clone Wars, he got to fulfill that Jar Jar, or flesh out, I should say,
yes,
that
yeah.
Jar Jar destiny that he put in Rise of, Revenge of the Sith, which is the best of those movies in my opinion. But
I will say this too, and I agree. I agree with Dreadnought. I did hear that about George Lucas. I did. I think many of us are actually, but the prequels are looked upon. It's funny, years later, people look at them and they love them now, or at least they like them more now. But I think it's a case of what we've been given makes them look so much better. Just the feel, the world building, all that kind of stuff, rather than, you know, what we've had now. And I think it gives you rose-colored glasses about that, because I've objectively gone back and watched the prequels, and
look, you know,
Revenge is the only one that I can usually get through without really being like,
yeah, I will say
oh.
I like about 60% of the prequels. So the first one has some interesting elements that they were setting up, and I like the character of Darth Maul, but they didn't go with it where they needed to. But Qui-Gon Jinn is the greatest Jedi ever. The second one if you cut out every scene with Anakin and Padme, together like alone, it's halfway decent movie. And then Revenge of the Sith is pretty darn good. The novelization of it is even better. But
Yeah, Matthew Stover. Yeah, I would encourage people to read that if you
Yeah.
haven't read the novelization.
Yeah.
It gives a lot of context. It really does, and it's a shame, Ronnie, because it is true. You know, they did not want Jar Jar, and George kind of got stuck with him. I tell you what, though, what I did appreciate, and we're going to move on to the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon comments here, is that, look, they at least put Ahmed Best, right? They gave him a Jedi part in the
Jedi part. He was
Obi-Wan,
Oh,
show.
okay. I was
And
going to say
and
because he was just in the bar in the background having drinks with Anthony Daniels, C-3PO.
right. No, they actually made him a Jedi in the temple the night Anakin attacked, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and or a part of that of Obi-Wan, but he's in it, and they made him a Jedi. And so hey, cool with me. That guy didn't deserve the hate that the media gave to him.
And it was the media, it wasn't the fans.
100%. But the social media was
Because the fans,
nothing.
even back then, could separate the character from the actor.
Yes. 60% of the prequels work every time. I know people like that. So anyway, moving along, I do want to bring this up about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, because recently they went on Joe Rogan. They've been making the rounds because they have a new project coming out, and I want to make sure I get the name of it right, because I don't want to steer you guys wrong and I don't want to mess it up. It's called The Rip. All right, it's called The Rip, and it is believe.
No one cannot think that in their head whenever they hear his name from now until eternity.
Exactly.
This is exactly what I was talking to Pop about beforehand. You cannot not have that in your head at this point.
Yes. It's on Netflix. It's called The Rip. And so they've been making the rounds, kind of going around talking about making movies and stuff like that. And I found a couple interesting comments of them on some different podcasts or whatever, and different articles. And I want to start with the Ben Affleck one. Now this video's it lasts for a couple minutes, but there's a lot of things to take out of this. So I kind of wanted to kind of go through it. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one, but there's also the Matt Damon part of it, speaking about Netflix and some of their dialogue requirements, or how they have to write stuff. So this is the first part.
So if you want to take this from an accountant's point of view, a inside Hollywood producer point of view, this is exactly what we've been saying for years.
A lot of this, man. And there's some interesting tidbits in there. This is on All the Smoke podcast. And so let me play this for you guys.
What do you say to the people that say Hollywood is dead? It's too expensive to make movies out here.
Sadly, there is some truth to that. And part of it's, you got people that want to work and, and that are really willing, especially like here in town, but then, it can cost more in California. The big thing is that other states or even other countries give these tax breaks. So then it's like, you can't compete with that, so all of a sudden, and then they'll be, okay, New Mexico, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Georgia, but then they also disappear. It's kind of whack-a-mole, and everybody's, or London, like the UK gives out, that's why all the superhero movies are all made in London. And I'm sure it's a lot of money in the rebates that they're giving away.
But to do a movie that you definitely want to hit the theaters, that you definitely want to see, be seen, what would be the budget for that? Like, just a number.
People will tell you now, like, it's very, very difficult to make a movie for less than $25 million, right?
Yeah.
And 25, and it can go up very quickly as soon as you got a big stunt unit or big action stuff or visual effects. And here's the thing with theatrical, which is why it's very hard. Like, you spend about the same amount that you spend on the movie to advertise the movie. So if you spend $25 million to make the movie, you $25 million to advertise the movie. So now you got $50 million into the movie. And from the movie theaters, you get back roughly 50%. So if a movie makes $100 million, you get back $50 million.
And that's only
So you get
U.S.
back
box
$50
office.
million.
Right. That's only U.S. box office.
Foreign box office, the take home's even less.
So far, okay, there's a couple things in here that we've talked about with production moving to different states. You're getting tax breaks and stuff like that. But the whack-a-mole part of it, right, is that you've got to dig around for that. You've got to find, you got to figure out where you're going to get that, if you can get it. Can you film there, right? Like, rather than having a solid lot, studio, location, land in California that you can constantly rely on.
Right.
Because of the expenses, right? So the number that jumps out to me before we watch the rest of this is, making a small movie for less than $25 million.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the cost is not the actors, right? Depending on who you want to cast.
Well, it's depending on where you're making it.
Right.
Because if you're making it in Hollywood, it's going to cost 3 times that.
Right. And on top of that, it's all of the extra stuff you have to actually make a film.
Yeah.
Now, there's something about that I want to get into here in a second after we finish this about making a film and what you have to do it.
$1 million. That's you $25 million movie got to gross $100 million just in simple math. And there is a tail and there are secondary revenue streams, but that's one of the things that has made it really hard to get theatrical. That and the fact that people now go, this movie looks good, but I'll see it when it comes on streaming. And so those two factors are really what's caused, why you see mostly the movies that come out in theaters are, Avengers and or Avatar or whatever it is. And a movie with that Ryan Coogler, who's a huge commercial director, and Michael B. Jordan, who's a huge movie star. That's considered kind of a risk because it's not like a sequel.
I have never seen.
So
what do you say to the people?
To me, all right, making a movie now, when people go, well, you can shoot a movie on your iPhone now. Yeah, you can. It might look all right, but you're not shooting a theatrical release on your fucking iPhone. Like, let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying you can't.
I was going to say you could.
You could, but the reality is like most people don't know how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not truly. They don't know camera angles. They don't know how to do audio.
Lighting,
they don't know how to do lighting.
yeah,
They
right.
none of that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Even if you at home sit and think, man, I've had an idea and thought about let's just take a premise. A day in the life of a kid, and you thought, I'd film my kid waking up that morning, the alarm clock's going off, following him, getting ready for school, and then getting on the bus or being driven in the car and getting in the school, going to school. Yeah, you could film all that shit. You don't know how to do that. Like, you really don't know how to do that. But you could have the idea. So when people say, you can make a release on your film. Yeah, you can make a Blair Witch, and you can make that kind of, a crazy perspective kind of film, but a theatrical release is going to catch people's attention. No, you're probably not doing that on an iPhone, right? Now, maybe as an amateur filmmaker, you're trying to maybe break in to get funding, but then think about the fact of trying to raise $25 million for your project, right? $25 million. That's not, that's on the low end. Now, independent filmmakers obviously get creative, and they do far more with less. But he's just talking about just baseline, like $25 million. And then you've got to get $100 million at the box office. Matthew, we go over these numbers every week. How many films are making $100 million at the domestic box office?
Not many anymore.
No. So movie making, in essence, to me, and how he's explaining it, is like, it's dying. It's been dying. And the tech companies came in and really, truly threw this whole model into a complete, disruption is the word they like to use in Silicon Valley. They disrupted an entire industry.
Yeah.
And flipped it on its head. And they're not creatives. They're not artists. They're penny pinchers and accountants, and they watch numbers.
Yeah, and that's why you have so many producers. That's why you have 27 producers on all these things, is because everybody's got to put their 2 cents in because, hey, I provided X number of dollars, so I get my say in this, and they want their money back out of it. And they're not getting it. So we'll see.
All right. So then I have a clip of Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. And I like this clip because this also speaks volumes to something we talk about all the time. And we'll listen to him in his own words and let you guys take a listen to Matt Damon on I believe it's Joe Rogan. I know. Don't pay attention to the caption.
The Russian
Of watching
captions.
at home, I think, you're watching in a room, the lights are on, other shit's going on, the kids are running around, the dogs are running around, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just a very different level of attention that you're willing to, or that you're able to give to it. And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, the standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, and one in the third. And, they kind of ramp up, and the big one with all the explosions, and you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody, we want people to stay tuned in and it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times.
Oh, Christ. I get so tired of watching these fucking shows. Stranger Things. Show me what you're doing on the screen and tell me it 5 fucking times using an album, a comb, a penny, a fucking back scratcher, right? Okay, so look, we're the back scratcher over here. Vecna is this light controller over here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break in the tunnels. And it's like 5 times. Like, that's the part for me that I can't stand now.
If they stopped doing this, then people wouldn't be on their phones watching new material because they would have to pay attention. But because they are doing this, they are allowing people to not actually watch the damn film to be on their phone, right? And so if people want to actually be engaged and they said, oh, my friend said this was really good, I want to watch it, and then they're on their phone the whole time because the plot's being reiterated to them, they already know what's going on. They're like, okay, whatever. They don't see any of the acting. This is why we get people with 0 acting skill that keep being pushed through the system. People that are planks of wood and have no emotion whatsoever because nobody's watching the movies anyway.
Yeah, it's and look, people say it's a byproduct of the world we live in today. Everybody's connected. Everybody is, unfortunately, online constantly. I know I am, right?
Yeah.
I know everybody out there also is too. Unless obviously you're working or whatever, if you have to do something that doesn't require hanging on your phone. But it's do you honestly think that if they stop doing it, do you think people would start to revert back the other way and actually pay attention to the show they're watching like they used to, or the movie they're watching? Or do you think, like I just said, you have people that aren't creatives? It's all about figures and minutes and whatever. And like he just said, you have to have 3 different action scenes for an action movie. You have to have, and they build up, and there has to be one in the first 5 minutes. It's why all this shit seems the same. Like music seems the same. It's a formula now. And I don't mean a good formula. We talk about formulas like television, how it was done based around ad breaks. I'm not talking about formulas about a hero's journey tale or how you write a story. I'm talking about a bad formula.
Do you know the difference between a trope and a cliche?
Educate me. I probably could get there, but you tell me.
So a trope is something that we understand. This is the progression of things that will happen, right? So we know the formula, but we're engaged with it. A cliche is something that's repeated so often that we become numb to it.
Okay.
right? So it's a phrasing, it's a set piece or a certain moment in time or whatever. It's so cliche that this happened because it's done so often and so repetitively that it's like, oh, this is boring, I can skip this part. But a trope is something that we understand fundamentally has to happen for us to get from here to here. We understand this progression, but we're along for the ride. We are engaged with the storytelling, the motion, and everything that's happening here. And so we watch Lord of the Rings. It's not cliche, it's a trope. And it was one of the beginnings of fantasy storytelling as we know it. I mean, you had Conan and you have Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Those are the beginnings of fantasy storytelling. They created the tropes that we use. Now, a cliche comes in when it's just, oh, it's this scene again, whatever. And you can't ignore a cliche, and then a cliche becomes a joke later on. A trope doesn't become a joke.
Yeah, no, very true. Yeah, I get exactly. Yeah, no, that it makes all the sense in the world, and if you frame it that way, yeah, no, I, it's just, there is a marked difference between watching something that was written in 2011, even that recent, which it wasn't that recent, but recent enough, to now, like a huge, you can just tell, even not the best shows, right? But even not your Breaking Bad, right? Not your pre-prestige television, but even a decent show that you would watch. Um, it is so different now to go back and watch something to compare it to today.
Yeah.
And at the same time, man, it's what happens when people get used to something, it becomes accepted. And that's where I worry that we now accept this really subpar form of telling stories and making
Yes.
shows, and people just go, "Well, no, it's still good, right? Like I like it because it's got some action and it's and look, I'm gonna tell you what to like or not like. I'll tell you what I like and don't like, and I'll tell you my opinions, and I'm gonna be strong about that. But I get it. Everybody has different things that flip their switches, right? But objectively, if you just sit back and you just compare, just
Yeah.
look at it,
Yeah.
it's obvious. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and I hate it. I really do because it's one of those things that now that I notice it, it just really is like reaching out and punching me in the face and going, notice me, and it pulls me out of the show. It pulls
Yep.
me out of the movie.
Well, once you understand what they're doing, and every time it's going to pull you out, and you're going to say, "Oh gosh, not this again," and it becomes cliche, right? It becomes that annoying thing that happens in every film made by such and such, or this group of people, or whatever. That this will always happen in their films. They have to put these things in their films, and you're like, "Ugh, here we go again." And it takes you out of the film because it separates engagement because there's not emotion attached to this. There's not any actual feeling attached to it. It's just, this is something we must do. So we throw this in here, and it doesn't make logical sense. It doesn't make emotional sense. And so there's no connection to it. And so it's like, move on.
And you also don't have to care.
Yeah, you don't.
Right? Like you don't have to care. And look, we're all guilty of it. Second screen viewing, having a movie playing, while you're scrolling and through Instagram or whatever. I mean, we're all guilty of it. It's because of this is how it's done. But I have definitely, dude, like, and I am not kidding, man. Like, I've really tried to make it a point. If I'm watching something, like I'm watching something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And put my tablet down. If I'm on the computer and I've got it on a screen, I don't have anything else open. I'm not trying to make thumbnails or nothing like that.
Yep.
Because, and as we get into these two shows we're about to talk about, to finish up here around in third base, there's a reason why when you watch, especially one of them, but the other one being brand new to me, I want to give it the attention it deserves.
Right. Yep.
So for me, I've made a concerted effort, and I encourage everybody out there, like, put Instagram down. Quit looking at the same fucking toy news that you see post after post, right? Stream after stream, right? And like, just like you used to do.
Yeah.
When you watched a show, appointment television, you had to be in front of the TV when Game of Thrones came on.
Because
you had to be in front of the TV during Breaking Bad, and you didn't do
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, because you can't pause it, you can't rewind it. Well, maybe you could. They still had TiVo.
Yeah,
then,
no,
but-
100% you could. But my point being is, like, that's what you did when those shows were on. You
Yeah.
weren't doom scrolling. You weren't working on another project. Like, you were watching that shit.
Game of Thrones was a cultural phenomenon. You had watch parties. You'd get together with all your friends and get all the.
Oh my god!
You'd get the special brew of wine, and you get some,
Yes.
some nice snacking beverages and foods, and then you get to sit down there and watch it all as a group, and you talk and you rant and rave through the whole thing or whatever. You go through it all, and everybody's all excited, or you're just glued to it, and then you have this experience, this communal experience that we used to have in the movie theaters, right? And that some people are trying to still create in the movie theaters, but I don't know that it exists anymore. I don't know that we can get it back.
No, I agree. That's what's so tough about it. And
Yeah.
and actually, to follow up on that, is I want to say hey to Frank Duman.
What's
up,
up,
Frank?
Frank?
Good to see you. Menjoza is in the house.
What's up, Menjoza?
Menjoza, good to see you.
How do you
too,
like them
man.
Geierwolf pictures, huh? Those are pretty cool.
I want to follow up and yes, Garaf, I agree. 3-star draw. The Captain Holdo maneuver in the shower is a scary proposition, folks. I don't even want to know. I'm gonna keep my eyes open actually right now. I'm not gonna close them. Hey, that's the scary part when you close them. You have to keep them open.
We keep them open. Yeah. Yep.
But I wanted to just add this little addendum from this article from Hollywood Reporter, and it's talking Matt Damon saying, and I see your draft. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So
we do need to talk about that for a second.
So talking about the in-theater experience, now look, the choice of movie, whatever, I don't give a shit. But Matt Damon's saying, look, I went to see one battle after another on IMAX. There's nothing like that feeling. You're in there with a bunch of strangers, but people in your community, and you're having this experience together. I always say it's more like going to church. You show up at an appointed time. It doesn't wait for you, okay? I say that about sporting events.
Yeah.
It's like going to church. Okay, everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody is all up, all about it, right? Sporting events are very like that. Concerts are like that, and movies were like that, right?
Yep.
They are like that. And then we get the quote that we just heard about watching in a room with kids and everything. But
Yeah.
it is 100% correct. Going to the theater is a wonderful experience. Yes, all those same cliches about people on their phone and, talking and all that. Yes, you do have to deal with that bullshit. But I think more and more people that are going to the theater now, I think are actually respecting that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you're spending, $25 to go see a movie. So you're gonna pay attention, right? You're gonna stow your stuff. I still see people occasionally flipping their phone light on or something like that, and it's very distracting. And it's like, hey, dude, cut it out. And people are more understanding of that. But that's also why I like to go to places like Alamo Drafthouse, where they'll kick you out for that stuff.
Hey, I love that shit, and I have no problem with that. Somebody said, "Well, I pay blah 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 blah." And you gonna kick me out? No,
because you're not paying attention to what you pay for.
And not even that. Like, you could sleep through the motherfucker. Okay, I don't care. But it's a matter of, like, there
Taking
are
away
certain
from
rules
other people.
of engagement, right? There's certain rules of being in this, and these are the rules. And so yeah, and I will tell you, the last few times I've gone to the movies, I've seen far less people. Well, number one, I've seen far less people, which also, as a byproduct of that, far less people, the people that are there spending the money are engaged with the movie.
Yeah.
And they're not engaged with something else. And I guess that's kind of what I was getting to.
Yeah,
It's funny.
absolutely.
But yes, fewer people are going. The people that are going want to be there. Therefore, they are adhering to those guidelines, social guidelines that we all should know. Giraffe says it's too much of a risk to be fully watching modern shows. You are brave. And he follows it up by saying, I dare you to put the phone down and just sit and watch Starfleet Academy at full attention. And I do know that you kid, because I don't know if anybody can do that. Okay. I was going to challenge you, Matthew, for us to actually watch Starfleet Academy, and I just don't know if I can do it.
I can't. Star Trek died in 2005. Star Trek died in 2005. Okay. There is nothing about this show that has any interest for me, because it defies everything in the universe that Gene Roddenberry created. And I understand you had to challenge some of his stuff. And after his death with Deep Space Nine, we went into territory that Gene didn't ever want to go to. And I think it was important to have that kind of conflict. But it was actual conflict. It was socio-political conflict, right? This stuff that they're putting in there doesn't make a lick of sense. So Starfleet is supposed to be the best of the best of the best, not people that are obese and have physical deformities that shouldn't exist in that century, because we've eliminated all those things. We rebuilt Worf's spine from nothing when he broke his back in an experimental treatment. Then imagine what they could do now. So why the hell would you have anybody in a freaking wheelchair? Okay, we cured blindness with Geordie LaForge. We replicated new eyeballs for him. Why would you have anybody wearing glasses? I mean, you already had retinox treatment back in Kirk's day, and he was allergic to it, which is why he had to have glasses. So there was a reason for it. But today, 1,000 years beyond that, you would think they would have gotten beyond that fact. And to create an entirely genetically created species that was created by the founders to be a warrior species that has no sex, no genitalia whatsoever, and is only created in a test tube, they would never modify that, and they would never evolve from that, because they only live about 6 to 8 years, because they die in combat in general. If you live to 10 years as a Jem'Hadar, you're fucking toast. So to have a creature with no genitalia created in a test tube mate with another species to create a hybrid species doesn't make any sense. So she had to have been created in a lab, and she was created fat. So she was also defective in the lab. And then she doesn't know how to lead anybody, because all she does is yell at people. No, there is no reason to watch this show, because it is nothing to do with Star Trek. And the people who say this is the perfect Klutzman Star Trek, because he has stripped away everything that ever was Star Trek and is just using the name to tell his story and his agenda moving forward, because there is nothing left of Star Trek. It's dead.
Damn! Disgusting. Disgusting.
It's true. It's true, folks. It's true. Take that shit to the bank. Speaking of replicators.
Oh, gosh.
Speaking of replicators, the series opens with Paul Giamatti's character stealing
Trump.
food. Oh, that's right. Yeah, allegory. So stealing food. But why would anybody need food? There's replicators all everywhere.
We cured hunger on Earth 2 centuries ago.
Like, I don't understand even
two millennia ago at this point.
Premise of it. But then also, why would a hologram need to go to Starfleet Academy? A character that's a hologram is going to Starfleet Academy. It's a hologram. I don't even understand what's trying to be said there. Like, I really
why
don't
would you
get it.
why would you put a bunch of cadets in a highly sensitive political negotiation?
Dude, come on, man. Like,
why are they given jobs to do on a starship when they're supposed to be going to the academy to be cadets? Why do you have the fat bitch come in there and say, I ate my communicator already? That was the doctor's response. Oh, you ate it already? As in, she just eats everything in front of her, and that's why she's a fat bitch? I mean, what the hell's going on?
Here, if you want to know, This show exists for one reason and one reason alone.
Can you hear the Friends music? I mean, is that what you're hearing?
Stop!
Is this,
Don't you dare
or is
shame
this,
a wonderful
okay.
sitcom.
Is this One Tree Hill or Dawson's Creek?
Okay,
I mean,
Dawson's fucking Creek. Let's go.
Dawson's Creek was better than this shit. Come on now.
Doctor Who? I don't know. This is more like Doctor What? This is fucking embarrassing, dude. But this is their new United Colors of Benetton Starfleet Academy, folks.
Listen, when you have an entire species that's been bred for war, like the Klingons, to have any deviance from that is an abomination and is kicked out. And so he would be a total outcast and a freak in Klingon culture to want to watch birds.
Menjoza just wants to believe. Cisco, maybe.
So Menjoza, if you are watching Starfleet Academy, be prepared for episode 5 because they will completely destroy Cisco in that episode. They're going to talk about Deep Space Nine. And even though there's a novelization about what happened to the emissary after being with the wormhole aliens, and then we have What We Left Behind, the Deep Space Nine documentary that goes through the whole history of it, that rewrote another episode with Cisco in it, also tells Cisco's story in a more appropriate way. This show will destroy Cisco in Deep Space Nine on episode 5. I promise you.
That's because that's what they like to do. They like to tear down or deconstruct prior characters that people love. That is a fact. On top of that, they also, even though the show takes place well past anything, they like to kind of make it like they're the first to have done something, right? Like, retroactively go back and say, "Oh no, we did it first." Now, this show I don't think can do that, but we'll see. I tell you, look, I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I do like Star Trek, and I love Next Generation, and I love the movies with the original cast, But man, that'd be a real difficult watch for me, just from the clips that I've seen.
Yeah, you know what this has done is it's brought back the discussion that Star Trek is dead into the zeitgeist, because now Fox News is talking about it. Everybody's talking about it now, right?
It's definitely has made its way to mainstream in the last few years because of the
but this show in particular has brought that discussion back.
Totally get
it because people kind of ignored Discovery, people ignored Lower Decks, they ignored
easy to ignore.
Yeah, I mean they kept ignoring the stuff that was coming out because it's whatever. And then this comes out and there's such a huge backlash on it when reviewers and YouTube channels get more views in 3 minutes than it got in 24 hours.
Okay, so let's talk about this really quickly. I do want to share this with you guys, and I meant to do it. Give me 1 second, but there's a couple comments. If you want to highlight a couple comments in there while I look this up, Matthew, because there is some pretty fun stuff. For instance, Ronnie Trickshot wonders, do you even breathe? Matthew, when he gets on it, he gets on it. Yeah, man.
I just got some lungs. That's all. Never breathe. That's when the government tries to get you to inhale the COVIDs.
Damn.
Menjoza, I love Cisco. He is my second favorite captain next to Kirk. His name will blaze across the sky in the galaxy. Yeah, man. I mean, Deep Space Nine is my second favorite Star Trek series. I love it. I don't know if they did that or not. If they announced pronouns, I don't care. I love the Babylon B stuff that came up and says, "Sorry, Captain, we can't reach warp drive. I'm too fat to hit the switch," because 70% of the women on that show are overweight. What the heck?
It's just strange. I'm sorry.
I don't
really
get it.
Weird, and it just messes with the whole idea of what they've
Star Trek,
accomplished.
Yes. It's supposed to be the best of humanity. It is supposed to be a utopian society, right? And if you follow the Star Trek Discovery logic, okay, so when men ruled the galaxy, Star Trek was good, and the Federation was a good, helpful influence, and then the women took over and destroyed everything. I mean,
Wait.
if that's the narrative that they're projecting, because all the admirals are female, all the leadership in Starfleet is female, and everything's gone to shit in the galaxy. The Federation has fallen apart. Everything's in chaos, and evil is rising, and they have to fight all this stuff. And it's like, well, what happened to all the people beforehand? That didn't happen before.
Interesting.
I mean,
but makes sense, and you definitely will see that argument.
That's the premise
sure.
they put forward.
Right. No, exactly.
Right.
And I thought you were talking about the people in charge, like, with
that's the TV show. I'm talking about the TV show.
Fourth and fifth wave feminism, like Kurtzman, Filoni, and Kennedy. But anyway, so let me share the screen real quick, because this was interesting. Nerdrotic did a stream with a Spock action figure sitting on top of his streaming chair in front of his camera. And his live stream with a Spock action figure, no dialogue, no nothing, just Spock, ended up beating the peak live viewership of Starfleet Academy's 1300 in just under 3 minutes.
3 minutes,
1.5 thousand people watching an action figure, and unannounced, by the way. It just, and it got more viewers in under 3 minutes than people were watching the new Star Trek. If that just gives you an idea of kind of where that's at. I just find that pretty funny. Okay.
Yeah. So Mendoza, I'll say Star Trek died in 2005. And to go to this one here next, never thought you'd miss T'Pol the character, but here we are, right? Star Trek Enterprise was the last actual Star Trek thing that was produced, in my opinion. Tony Todd is an amazing actor. I love all of his characters that he ever portrayed, and he did a few Star Trek characters that were amazing. And then he did play Jake also, and as the older Jake. That was such an emotional episode.
And I have to say, and yes, I do love the action figures. Okay, I cannot tell a lie, Graph.
I wish that Nacelle wasn't a company that was getting ready to explode or implode, because what they're trying to do with the action figures, I think, is interesting. Because they're making Star Trek stuff, and the Playmate stuff is so much fun. So I'm not going to lie, those Playmate figures are pretty decent. Just to have fun with. And then I wish Nacelle was actually going to be able to finish their Star Trek characters, but I don't think they are. I think they're going to fold before then.
Do you think if somebody came out with new characters from like Starfleet or some of the newer shows?
I think somebody did. I think somebody gave Nerdrotic. Somebody gave Nerdrotic a Michael Burnham figure.
Oh no! Stop it.
It was a plank of wood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first image of one Sophie Turner.
Yes, Ronnie. Yes, Star Trek needs Sydney Sweeney.
Oh,
so does Tomb Raider. And if Sydney Sweeney was Tomb Raider, it would have been a little more accurate. But
I agree 100%. This is our first look at Sophie Turner dressed up as one Lara Croft.
Lara. So
fire away.
I first saw this image and I scrolled right past it because it looked AI to me.
Right.
I didn't think it was real.
This is official.
No, I know that now, and that's why I sent it to you, because I looked at it and I'm like, oh, that's not AI. That is Sophie Turner.
Yes, sir.
And she doesn't look bad in the character.
No, but
she's not as well endowed as we would want her to be, but I don't know that matters as much.
Oh, it matters.
Well, okay, it does.
It matters. It does.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
And
Sophie Turner's does.
Sophie Turner's got her baggage that comes with her.
Well, we also know who's making the show,
and who's making it come with their baggage, and so I have very little hope for this at all. and I'll just go back and watch Angelina Jolie and be happy.
I can't argue with that, and Dreadnought agrees with you as well. Yeah, Clint as well. I mean, look, whatever. The outfit. I mean, it's not going to be the only outfit, right? I can imagine. But I just think when we heard the news originally back months ago, we talked about it, that she was kind of the rumored to be cast, and it's like,
look, some people say that she sucks at acting. I don't know that she does.
No, I'm not going to say that,
because for whatever it's worth, her character in Game of Thrones was written away, and she did well with that character. Now, if you look at her as Jean Grey, I think that writing was so shit.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
You just couldn't get past that writing in that direction in those movies. And honestly, I haven't seen her in much else, so I don't know. But
so she has she has something new out that just came out recently that I've seen. She's the strongest part of the actual show, and it's I'll tell you what it is, just to give you an idea for those that are curious or you want to look. But it was one of the stories here. It's Steel. It's called Steel. Sophie Turner stars in an Amazon thriller that yields diminishing returns, but from everything I've read, because I've seen a few different articles, that she is the strongest part. It's a 6-part series on Amazon. It's called Steel, Steal, and she is the best part of the show. So I'm not gonna, I mean, look, personality and stuff like that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I've followed her acting career. I've seen what's happened to Daisy Ridley. I think Daisy Ridley has had some very unfortunate movies to star in, and has not had anything to give her anything to really work with. So I think she's desperately clinging to that hope that she can come back as Ray. But Sophie Turner, I think, does have some stuff in her future.
Yeah. I think Daisy Ridley has taken a moderately good approach. I mean, she hasn't been out there talking about anything or blasting anyone or anything like that. She's been, I think, somewhat humble from a Hollywood perspective on things, and I think she just wants to work and wants to do well, and so I appreciate that about Daisy, and I hope that she does well. I wish her the best. And Sophie, I still, for me, I haven't seen enough yet to say, no, fuck this. But there's enough there to make me question and worry about it. But we have to see. But I fear this is going to be a Red Sonja thing, and it's just going to turn out to be utter garbage, just like the Red Sonja thing.
Well, and if anybody watched the Tomb Raider animated show, that was pure garbage. And I hope to God they don't try to borrow any of that. I'm really hoping. Thankfully, we do have some new games coming out, and we do have one coming out that is definitely a throwback and a character throwback, and the look of the character. That's a newer game that's going to be coming out in the next year or two. And, and that I'm excited about. Look, I'm cautious, skeptical for sure.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see Chris Berry be her butler again.
Oh, sure. That'd be awesome.
Red Dwarf is one of my favorite comedy shows of all time. And to see him come back and be the butler again would be awesome. But
I'm with you.
We'll see. We'll see.
A couple comments here before we move on to Primal and Dunk and Egg. To finish things up, Ryan Trickshot, did Peter Dinklage get up in there? He wants the truth. I don't think you can handle the truth, Ronnie.
You can't handle the truth.
And Clint reminiscing about the side boob from the Angelina Jolie days back in pre-Rise of Skywalker days when my family would go out to a cinema.
And just think, oh gosh, what's his name? James Bond, Daniel Craig. Was in there too, right?
The first movie I enjoyed. I have both of them on DVD. The second one, it just got away from him. But the
Yeah.
first one I still do enjoy, and boy, Angelina, she was.
Hey, you know what? I don't mind either one of them because I enjoy watching Angelina play the character.
Oh,
So.
I ain't gonna argue with that. Grass says she had talking about Sophie Turner in Game of Thrones. She had one of the best character storylines. That last season really messed up a lot of paths for characters. I can't argue with that.
It did. It did. And it's
can't argue with that.
Can't argue with any of that.
And I can't argue with this either, Clint. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jonas, the whole Jonas. I mean, look, I think it's easy for us, and look, it's normal for us to hear about or see about celebrities and their personal lives and stuff, and it's easy to. It's hard to disconnect that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they kind of start to blend together, right? And I think she's one of those actresses, maybe for me, that kind of sort of started to happen, but. You know, recently I've not really been out there in the middle of anything. I haven't, paid much attention to her. So I'm kind of, glad about that. And who knows? Maybe we'll see. I'm not cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously skeptical. How about that? I hope it's good. I just know who's in charge of it.
Right. Yeah. That's another problem.
And then Mendoza says, look, I try to treat each role the actor does as its own thing and not the last job, only because there have been so many breakout roles. And that's a good practice. That's the best practice, actually.
Dunkin' Eggs sounds like a Tylenol Babies adventure show. That's dark.
Oh, yes.
That's dark, man. That's dark.
Wow. not a Muppet Babies show. Jesus. Brutal, man. Brutal. Okay, let's get to it. All right. Let's get to it, man. Let's get into the what we've been watching.
Yep.
We shall I'll take Primal first because it shan't take that long, and that way we can both dig in.
Yeah, let me set up Primal. Okay,
absolutely.
So Primal is a series about a prehistoric man and a dinosaur, and there is virtually no dialogue. Most of the dialogue that's in there you can't understand because it's spoken in a gibberish language that we're not supposed to understand, because Genndy Tartakovsky knows how to film action, animate action. And this is an action story. And so you have to pay attention. You got to absorb it, listen to the music, watch the show to see them, because there's such subtlety in the animation that he does that creates such intense emotions through the whole thing. And the first 2 seasons, I like a whole lot. I haven't watched season 3 yet, but Genndy Tartakovsky is known for the Clone Wars before the CGI version, Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack. Yep. So he's got this action-based storytelling, and he's done it in many different formats. And I think he's brilliant at using no dialogue storytelling. So you got to watch it. Check it out if you haven't. There's 2 seasons to catch up on as they're dropping episodes for season 3.
All right. So, yes, I found out about this when it was coming out, season 1 in 2019. I saw it. I knew who did it because I do love that Clone Wars. I do like his other stuff.
I love his other stuff. So once I heard his name was attached, I was like, I got to watch this.
Yes, extremely creative person. And something I was telling you before we went on. So, season 3. All right, and I agree, Matthew, it's an easy watch. You can binge the first 2 seasons quickly.
Yeah.
You will want to do it. You'll want to continue each episode because it's that good. You want to see what happens next. Where does the adventure go? Where does this take him? It is fascinating. And one of the things that I truly enjoy about the not everybody may love the style of art, okay? You may not love the animation style. But what I will say is I think it's distinctive. It is his style and his alone. But what's so cool about it is he's able to show emotion and provide storytelling with no dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of this show has no dialogue. It may have grunts. It may have roars. A lot of roaring, actually. But the twitch of an eye. He likes to show hands.
Yeah.
In the animation, it shows so much storytelling through little actions that the characters do, little grunts, little things. It's so damn good. And I promise you, if you start season 1, you will blow right through to season 3, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. The first episode.
Yeah, there are some tribes that he runs into that do have dialogue, but again, it's incomprehensible dialogue, right? You understand the emotion and the intent of the language that's being spoken between the members of the tribe, but this man doesn't have a tribe. He had a family, and there's a story behind that and everything too, but he doesn't communicate vocally that way.
Some will be maybe reminiscent of almost, and not to compare it to, but almost heavy metal.
Yeah.
It's gory.
Yeah, it's gory.
Unabashedly gory.
Absolutely.
But it's not in a fashion that will turn you away. It's animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So season 3, what he puts this guy through, okay, you can't help but root for this character.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
You truly, each episode, like, you want to see this character succeed. You want to see, and I mean, it brings in some real fucked up stuff.
Yep.
It brings in some really wild storylines and other characters and adversaries and obstacles and creatures, and the imagination in this show is just so magnificent. It runs wild, and it is. It's a guy and a dinosaur, but it grows from there. There are other characters that get involved, but
it's very Samurai Jack-esque, but less dialogue, and no future tech or anything like that. But there's some mystical stuff and things like that. So
mystical, yes, it does. It definitely dances there, and it stays there in some aspects. But season 3, I watched it last night. Episode 1, it's being released weekly. So once you get through the first 2 seasons and you get to season 3, it is a weekly release, and for that, I'm glad. Man, it's just badass. It is awesome, man. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I will say the animation style, I can't say enough about it, because his use of line and arcs are so amazing at showing action and telling the story.
Yeah.
He is a master of using sharp angles and soft curves to tell the story he wants to tell, because so many things are angular and prominent so that you see them, and then there's sometimes this nice little curve that softens it partway through, and so you see the action going this way and the flow happening this way, right? So the combination of it is just magical, and if you look at one frame, you may not fully comprehend everything that's being conveyed there. You may, I'm just saying, but in animation,
there's a lot
in motion, it's so phenomenal. And like I said, it's an artwork style that you kind of have to get used to. But if you watch Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, you understand the language, the visual language that he's using.
Yeah, no, it truly, I mean, like, just looking through some of this stuff, man, like, I mean, some of these images, it's just, and again, right, the usage of angles and lines and action, and some of it just looks so, crazy at times, but it just, oh my gosh, it's so freaking good. So yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys check it out. Especially, like I said, if you like animation, man, like, it is just wicked good stuff. Like, wicked good stuff. And again, no dialogue, and not barely, and yet the story is just like, you follow right along. you get it. Like, it is badass, man. This dude is a badass. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, okay. So I just wanted to bring that up because I did see episode 1 of season 3. So hurry up.
Awesome. Yeah, check it out, guys.
Catch up to that. Please catch up to that. Now,
yeah.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Okay.
So I'll give a little bit of context to it.
Yes.
And then I
please.
definitely want your opinion because you're unfamiliar with the stories. So, so this is a story in between House of Dragon and Game of Thrones. We enter this story not knowing much, but there are 3 novelettes that make up basically one novel's worth of storytelling so far, but it completes a story arc. So there's a completeness to it. And by watching this, you get to make sense of so many things that happened in A Song of Ice and Fire, and potentially Game of Thrones to a degree, and where it would have actually ended if they follow through with the rest of the story. Somebody asked about one of the castles earlier, and that hasn't been fleshed out or written yet in the Dunk and Egg stories. But yes, we would get there if they went far enough. A little spoiler or not, whatever. Sir Duncan the Tall, the main character of this series, is an ancestor of Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. Okay, and his compatriot, Egg, is Aegon and will be king of all of Westeros through a series of unfortunate events. But until that point, he is basically an orphan bastard child, and that's why he has a shaved head. And we'll find that out through the story. But if his hair was allowed to grow, he has platinum hair. So they had to shave his head so that he wouldn't be known as a Targaryen, because somebody would have killed him right away, especially as a young boy.
Yeah, no, it's and if you follow, I mean, even like, House of the Dragon, right? There's a character in there, right, where it's if they knew who he was, or the hair color, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
has that in it as well. So
so somebody was asking about Harrenhal, and basically Harrenhal's demise happens at the same time as the end of the Dunk and Egg stories.
So just getting into this, right? And for me, not having, either read the books or knowing a ton, there are some names that you will recognize, right? There are names, last names or house names that you will recognize from Game of Thrones if you just watch Game of Thrones. The characters you won't know, but you will recognize their house names.
If you paid attention to Game of Thrones, you would recognize the names of some of these people.
Yeah,
but
very true. Because
especially you have to be meticulous about knowing those names or
cool,
remembering them.
What's cool is who the boy actually ends up growing up to be, for
right.
one.
Yeah,
which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So first episode, I don't necessarily want to spoil it, but it is the beginning for us. So I don't necessarily know that it's really more setup about a hedge knight who basically doesn't have a tent. He sleeps under the stars, finds a tree, has to wash his clothes in a river. Funny scene is early on is him taking a dump.
Okay, hold on a second. Now, let's put this into full context, okay? You have the cold open.
Yes.
Right? And then you go to kind of the intro. They start playing the Game of Thrones theme music, and then it gets cut off with him taking a diarrhea shit.
I thought that was pretty funny.
And you can take it as this is going to have some dick and fart jokes in this series.
Right.
You could take it as they're literally shitting on Game of Thrones.
That's the way I took it partially. Was kind of like that because the music ends abruptly and it's literally him projectile sitting on the side of a tree.
Right.
It looks like a horse. Taking a shit.
I mean,
Like that's what it
whatever.
looks like. It's crazy.
And who wants to be the person animated that? Or did they do it practically?
Well, I was gonna say if they did it practically with one of those hoses and they ran it up beside his leg, and it's pretty funny. But you're right. That's kind of how it opens. It opens with him burying the person he was in service to, the night that he was in service.
And it so for the most part, the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode are pretty close, except for the cold open. Once we get to the real opening, and then the end, are pretty close to the books. The middle is a lot of fluff, and we'll talk about that a little bit more once I hear your thoughts on it. But it's all working together because in my opinion, this first book, this first 6 episodes, is maybe 2 to 3 hours worth of material, and they're stretching it out to 6.
Okay. Well, and that I get that.
We're getting into detail, but I will also say that this is George R.R. Martin's most hopeful and heroic storytelling that he's ever done. There is the least amount of nihilism in this story, and unfortunately, it may be a little slow for some people in this first episode or whatever. So. I don't know. I've heard some people say that you got to follow it through because the payoff will be worth it. And people are going to talk about this show because it's some of the most beloved material of George R.R. Martin because it is a complete story arc. So you have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Well, and I don't know
to a story arc, and he's never done that before.
And I get that. I don't know that many people like watching it that may be either casual or are going to think that way. For one, they probably don't know the history of Martin and his books and what's going on. Okay,
and
that's if you're just coming in cold, it's going to seem like a complete show to you probably, or at the very least season wise. So as far as it may be starting out slow, well that's not unusual for any show. I'm glad it doesn't take the Netflix approach of we need an action scene in the first 5 minutes. It's these are thoughtful pieces. Like this reminds me of why I like to watch shows that actually are not that.
Right.
There's character building, right? You have a character here who was in service to a knight and he passes and now it's like, okay, well, he passed his sword on to me. Of course, good luck convincing people of that. Good luck convincing people that you're a knight. They know, if you are a hedge knight, they know what that means. You really aren't a knight. You don't have knightly clothes. You don't have, and so they're presenting this guy as he is smart. He's not stupid. He is smart, but he is big and he is awkward.
And he's naive.
He's naive, and he also just really has no claim on anything, right? Like in this world,
so
if you're just a nobody, you're a nobody.
In the books, it's more ambiguous as to whether he was actually knighted or not. Here, they are taking a pretty hard stance that he wasn't.
Yeah. It's. I mean, look, and again, having not read the novellas, all I can say is from the first episode, they set you up with him basically. He finds attorney. He wants to enter attorney, right? He meets a young boy early on in his travels. The young boy wants to squire for him. But obviously he's like, okay, whatever, right? Like, you have a home, why would, you're not going on the road with me. You're not traveling with me. They end up together, not through choice necessarily. The boy just basically says, hey, I'm coming with you. And he's actually a smart kid, right? He's pretty well versed.
Well, and to be fair, I keep waiting for the kid to say, and remember, there is no spoon.
Wow. I I was not ready for that.
No, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this first episode that was there. Ronnie Trickshot, I completely understand that, and I will tell you that the 3 books for Duncan Egg and Night of the Seven Kingdom is his most complete storytelling that he's ever done. You will never get that last book. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It will always be fan fiction because George R. R. Martin cannot finish it. He is started writing more Duncan Egg stories because of this TV show. So he has stopped writing for the last book in the series, and he will never finish it because he cannot finish it at this point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not coming. And look, at the same time, I fully understand if you feel that way about not watching it. I can tell you that I know a lot of people that boycotted the NFL when they were kneeling during the national anthem. So I get it. Everyone has their different reasons, right? Like so I fully understand.
Totally get it. Yeah.
Tell you that every right to do that. Now, for me, just judging it on the show, I'm just going to tell you kind of, for me, kind of how it was. And I see, the comment about that it captures kind of the spirit, of the story in the first episode. I think it's an easy kind of watch because you're just getting to know this character. And like myself, not knowing, I'm getting introduction. I'm getting some character development. I'm getting a little bit of character growth. I'm also getting a little bit of when he goes to the tourney and he finds out who's putting on the tournament. It's kind of a tense scene when he's found out to be in this tent and he's asked directly, like, why are you here? Like, you shouldn't be here. And he's honest and he's like, I'm fucking looking for supper. Like, I'm trying to get something to eat.
Yeah.
And, but in order to be in the tournament, he has to be vouched for.
Yep.
Okay. And so someone has to vouch for him. And the only way he can do that is go around asking people that his former master or former knight that he served for actually find someone who remembered him, who served for them or a house in a battle, whatever, and they can vouch for him to be in this tournament. But the person who's putting the tournament on is fantastic.
Yeah.
Just from an actor perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And,
well, so the actor playing Lionel
Baratheon.
So he's not the one hosting the tournament.
Lionel. No, he's not. He's not the one.
But that's the dinner scene. That actor who's playing Lionel Baratheon is a phenomenal actor. My biggest problem is that Lionel Baratheon was a Baratheon. So as a Baratheon, he would be a lot thicker. He would have a lot more muscle, and he'd be just a little bit taller because he was only about a half an inch to an inch shorter than Dunk.
Yeah,
in the books, but their interaction, I thought was phenomenal.
Fantastic.
It was absolutely amazing, and they talked about stuff that happened internally inside Dunk's head in the book. So to get out that information that was in his head, they had that conversation, and I thought it worked really well, especially for what's going to come in the next episode. But we'll get there when we get there. But I thought Lionel Baratheon, the people that they have cast for the characters so far, I think are all spot on. The kid, Dunk, Lionel Baratheon, the other house members that he's having conflict with, the one douchebag and his cousin who is actually trying to help him out. They've done well. Even the horse were great.
Oh, absolutely. And as they should be.
Right.
No, I felt like, in this episode, it again, look, nothing too crazy happens. It doesn't get violent. You can tell there's an antagonist possibly being set up a little bit, right? There's a helping hand being set up a little bit, right? Not just the child, okay, but not just Egg, but so you're getting these elements in the first episode. So they're doing a good job of setup, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And I don't need a bunch of stuff revealed to me. You know,
Right.
like I want it to come along as it is. And I kind of like just settling into the world again
Yeah.
and into a world that's in this in between spot where, House of the Dragon, when season 3 comes out, we're going to be right back there again. But also having been so familiar with Game of Thrones, right? And some of the politics of the world a little bit and where those things are headed, right? And just kind of getting back in, putting the toes back into the water, so to speak. It was fun, seeing the costuming,
Yeah.
right? I thought it was a very good job. The dialogue, I think, is very well written. I think the Peter Claffey that plays Sir Duncan is very likable.
Yeah.
He does a great job. The accent, everything about the character. I think it was very, very good for a first episode, and not knowing a lot about this story other than just a little bit of the outline about who some people are
Yeah.
and who they end up to be. I dug it. Obviously, I recommend it. It again, we just have the one episode. I'm okay with weekly releases. I prefer weekly releases.
Yes.
And it does give you something to look forward to. Other than some of those, like, I guess, comparisons with the books, everything, just as a TV show, like, what did you think about it? Just as a show, the writing, and kind of that first episode. How do you feel about it without comparing it to the book, so to speak?
Okay, so it's hard for me to separate, but at the same time, I'm going to say I liked it. I definitely want a little bit more, but I'm still. I think a lot of people are going to think that it is too slow of a buildup, and maybe that's
Okay.
a modern audience thing. I don't know, a true modern audience thing because of our attention spans and because of what we're used to. But if you are interested in the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire universe at all, I think there's a lot of material to be mined here that is in the books that can be out there. And I would encourage you that the show may start off slow, but it's going to be worth the payoff. And because the closest thing to an action piece was a very pivotal moment when a very important character cursed him out and stormed off in the inn. And you don't know any of that, but I can tell you that was a very important moment. And it was so minor. That was like the largest conflict between that and, trying to get into the tourney. Because there was no action set piece, you really do need to watch the preview for the next episode or the preview for the season that comes up, because they show some really intense stuff that's going to come up. And you're going to get your fix of action and adventure and storytelling, and it's going to be there. So just hang on.
And look, I like that, not knowing, right? Like not
Yeah.
really knowing, how this story plays out, because I don't, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to know that. I
Yeah.
am a show person personally. Some people are totally book people, but I'm not that way. I'm more of a watch kind of person myself. So I'm good. I'm good with the pacing. I'm good with it. I did like kind of the dragon play part was very well done. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
You can tell that, possible love interest. I don't know where that goes. And I saw that obviously in the comments there. Let's say hey to Tony's Figs. How you
What's
doing,
up, Tony?
buddy? Yeah, Stu for Lunch saying even the possible love interest, the dragon play lady was a nice tease of what may come. I just thought from a pacing aspect, it was fine. I don't think it was too slow. Again, this is introductory because people are so familiar, I think, with Game of Thrones, and if you've watched Hot D, then yeah, this may seem, there's no dragons here, right? It's not really discussed. Um, I can feel, I have a feeling I kind of get a tone of this tale, and that it's going to tonally be maybe quite different than what we've come to know from what we've seen before out of this world.
Yeah, because this has to do with the small folk. This has to do the whole story revolves around everything that happens at the ground level. This isn't lords battling for power and land and major things. This is, how do the little people survive in this universe? And you know, Sir Duncan the Tall is one of the greatest knights in all of Westeros. Spoiler alert. And this is his beginning.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. I'm good with being introduced into this. And I kind of, I don't really want to. I don't want to. There's not a lot to spoil here in this first episode. I mean, it really is mainly all set up.
Yeah.
But you do get introduced to a couple characters who
I wish that they had dropped the first 2 episodes.
I would have liked that also. I agree with that. I think because it's so short.
Right. Well, not short, but
6 episodes was what I mean.
Well, yeah, 6 episodes. But story wise, I would have liked one more episode, because you've got yourself hooked in the setup, and then you got to have a follow up. So if you guys haven't watched it yet, next week you'll be able to watch 2, and that might be the one that hooks you. The way that it hooks you.
Yeah, because I mean, I would like to kind of get into it. Whereas we get to next week, if people are keeping up with it, I kind of would like to get into it, because it is a Sunday show. So it gives us, gives people a couple days to watch it, so they can come in here and discuss it.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I'd like to do it. Instead of going, well, I like this episode, and not really being able to talk a lot about it. But I didn't want to just necessarily spoil this episode, but there's not
a lot to spoil in this. And actually, we have enough people that actually watched it that we can engage and talk about some of this stuff, because they're already saying, yeah, it was pretty good. People are in our chat anyway are pretty happy with that episode, and I'm right on board with it.
Okay, good.
And this is truly one of the Song of Ice and Fire things that I can truly get behind at this point, because I'm like, they can finish a story arc. So I want this to be successful, because I want them to get through 3 seasons. I want them to get through the first 3 books. I want them to finish that story, so we have something complete from A Song of Ice and Fire, because I don't know that we're going to get the hot D finish that we want.
No, I don't think so. But, I'm all in on that show still. I got to finish it out, because I did enjoy it. But
if you want to read the story, I highly recommend the graphic novel over even the novels.
Okay.
Or the novelettes, right? The graphic novel was done really well. So, yeah, I would, if you're interested, check it out. If you want to read the books, read the books. There's 3 of them, and they're good.
I want to hit up some of these comments. One thing I will say is you can tell this show takes on a completely different tone, because really the final scene of the episode where he and Egg are laying out under the stars, and you see a shooting star. And then, there's a discussion about luck, right?
Yeah.
And Egg is telling us it's, good luck. And then it's kind of a hopeful ending. Right? He's kind of like, does the luck mean that it's just for us, just for the 2 of us, right? Does everybody that sees a shooting star get good luck, right? But you could just tell by the way the episode ends that it does kind of have a hopeful feel to it, whereas Game of Thrones in the past, the ending of the first episode, right? Even the beginning of the first episode is very
so dark.
Yes.
And the end of the first season is like it's a gut punch to everybody.
Yes, it is a gut punch, man.
It's like,
shit.
oh God, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, let me hit up a few comments here.
Yep, we got some good ones.
Like Stu says, it was a good episode. I wanted more, but that just means it's got me waiting next week. The Dunk and Egg actors are engaging.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Ronnie, I feel you, man. If you read the Martin novels or in books, then I get it. For the first 50,000 pages, but how would you know that he's not going to finish? You have no idea.
Yeah,
no clue.
You wouldn't know that, but it's been more than 10 years since he's come out with a book in that series. Well, in the mainline storyline, and he stopped writing when the show got really popular.
Yes.
As soon as the show got popular, he stopped writing the book. Instead of finishing the darn story, he let the TV show happen. And then the TV show was not accepted as well as he wanted it to for the last 2 seasons anyway. And now he doesn't know how to end it. And so he never will.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's
not
truly,
happening.
Truly sad.
Nor does he have any interest in
not
passing
whatsoever.
it off to someone else as well. Mendoza says, question, do you think the first episode is better than the first episode of the original Game of Thrones? He says, I thought it was better than the first episode.
I do not.
I don't either.
The first episode of Game of Thrones, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones is the most amazing television that I think that I have ever watched at any one time.
But the first episode, just the
first episode is like, it's a gut punch. It's an eye opener. It's a shocker. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Sure.
Everything that happens in that first episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, what have I got myself into? And you're hooked. This is a slow buildup to what seems like a trope. And it is, because it's a hero's journey, because we know where some of it is going to go. We don't know how we get there, but we do know that this is a hero's journey story.
And they're setting up something fun.
You
can tell.
And yes, but this is more of a slow buildup, where the original first episode of Game of Thrones was a bam, 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 hitting you in the face and they were shocking the crap out of you with a lot of stuff.
There's a lot.
There's so much that happens in that first episode.
The very first scene.
Yeah, I just can't compare it to any other first episode of a TV series that I remember seeing.
Yeah, definitely. And Mendoza definitely seems like they have a good roadmap as well. Stu for Lunch is even the possible love interest. I brought that up earlier. Dragon play a nice tease. It is unbelievable. I do like something. I like a lot of stuff, actually. But they just
a lot of it doesn't come from the major corporations that are producing a pile of recycled excrement.
They haven't been making a lot of good stuff. That's the problem. You know?
Too many producers, too many people putting their 2 cents in.
Too many cooks in. And Mendoza also adds, I love the Game of Thrones. Jamie Lannister was the greatest written character ever until he wasn't. They made a monster a man. But that first episode was not so great. I
get it. And Mendoza, I will say that I agree. And in the novels, he's better. And I don't think that Martin would have ended his story the same way that they did in the show.
Yeah, it is a shame what happened, and it's been well documented, right?
Yeah.
Like well documented. Tony's Figs adding that Primal was awesome.
Primal's awesome.
2 new episodes are awesome. I just, man, that show is dope.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so
awesome.
Let's see. There was a graphic. Oh yeah, let's see. Stu for Lunch
talked about that.
Graphic now. Yep, talked about that. Never saw one episode from this Dragon World saga, and for that, Clint, I feel bad for you, because there is some quality stuff in there, especially like Matthew mentioned, the first 4 seasons.
The first 4 seasons are amazing, but you have to be ready for a level of depravity and torture and all kinds of disgusting human behavior that is in the show, and shockers that come along when you least expect it. There's a lot of emotional trauma that happens with the Game of Thrones series, and the first 4 seasons are amazing.
Yeah, but you're right. And if you haven't seen it, and it's hard, I hate telling someone that.
Yeah.
it sucks telling someone that. Like, just be prepared for because you're going to notice it. But I hate, I hate prepping someone.
I
like
know,
that.
but there's enough people that will be so turned off by some of the stuff that happens in it. The incest, the sex scenes.
There is. It depends on everybody. Your personal level of what you are cool with watching.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with you.
There's very graphic material.
It is graphic, but man, it's so damn good.
It's
for lunch,
entertaining.
I agree. The other nights have a ceiling blocking the star was a nice effect, right?
Yeah.
That does obviously make sense.
I love
It's
that
really
moment.
neat.
I thought that moment between them was awesome, and that is straight out of the books. So
okay, I like that. Tristan T.
Yeah.
Is here. What's up, Tristan? Says I really enjoyed the first episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, no, I dug it. I am A-okay with it, man. I'm all in. And like I said, I'll give most things a chance. Obviously, if I'm interested in it, I'm going to be more willing. But like we talked about Starfleet Academy earlier, there are some things I just don't know that I can do it. I did get invited to do a reaction of Wonder Man, and I just finding that difficult. I am. Let's see here.
That's gonna be a tough
Ronnie
one.
saying The Walking Dead first episode hit me as hard as Game of Thrones first episode. Interesting. Okay.
You know what? And I'll tell you, Ronnie, from my perspective, I watched the first episode of The Walking Dead and said, "Oh, I know where this is going," and never watched another episode because I was right.
I hate that. I just remember talking to my cousin and him just eventually just getting so frustrated with the show. But hey, that's not unlike what we're talking about. With Game of Thrones too, right?
And I get it, but I like the premise of it sort of, but I wasn't really interested in it, and so I watched it and just. For whatever reason, I was not impressed with that first episode.
No,
and it reminds me of the Battlestar Galactica reboot. I knew where that was going after the first miniseries as well, but I still watched it all, and I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else, but I did like it.
I could understand why you'd like certain parts of it. That's for sure. Tristan adding Fallout is brilliant. I got to tell you, number one, I love the use of the word brilliant. And number two, I'm enjoying Fallout. Now, unabashedly, I've said that it is a show that I'm letting my fandom, because it is my all-time favorite video game. New Vegas is, and it's all-time favorite video game world, universe. Yeah. So, yes, it is shading me. There are issues, I think, with writing. There are some issues this season. But overall, I think it's fun. I think it's goofy. It does remind me of the games. There are things you can pull from it that definitely will hit you there if you play and love the games. And so, for me, it's hitting. I'm liking it, but I understand those that maybe are not. And some of the creators I love to watch actually. Really hate the show. They absolutely hate it. And every video they make, every episode is like, this is trash. And, I mean, really, really harsh on it. Well, I watch those videos, though. I watch that criticism.
What's interesting to me is that nobody's talking about season 2.
The viewership has really fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And I hate that. And honestly, episode to episode, I can't put my finger on why.
Yeah.
I honestly can't. I don't think the storyline is too difficult to follow.
Right.
I don't think it's too silly and out of reach in plausibility within the universe. I just wonder if it's just a byproduct of the hype of the first season.
Maybe.
And how many people really liked it.
Yeah.
And here you go. And now are we going to get a classic case of a 2-season show that gets canceled? Right?
Maybe, just throwing this out there, maybe people don't want to watch a post-apocalyptic TV show right now.
Yeah, I think it depends on the tone of it. And I think the tone
maybe.
of this is maybe not there, but I point taken.
Yeah.
Point taken. And Joseph says, could you imagine a Baz Luhrmann directing a Fallout movie or show? That would be a psychedelic freaking trip,
Right.
dude. An absolute psychedelica. I'm with you all the way, Tristan. 137.2%. Toy
What's up,
Connections
hey Ken?
is here. Ken says, I'm missing some Westeros talk. Yeah, man. Next week, Ken, if you wanna hang out, we're gonna get into it. You know, usually on this show we don't like to spoil stuff that just came out like a day or two ago, but it seems, at least for who's here, that most everybody watched it, liked it, and so next week after watching episode 2, I want to dig into the world, and I want to dig into the scenes a little bit.
Yeah,
and talk about what's happening and you giving me some of your insight, Matthew, on kind of the ins and outs.
And if you guys are telling us not to put in spoilers, make sure you tell us not to put in spoilers.
Yes.
So we can avoid certain things and just talk about generally. Or if we want to get specific, let's get specific. I'm all for getting specific, but that's up to you guys in the chat.
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't want somebody. And obviously, we can always say, "Hey, look, we're to the point. We're getting ready to talk about it." If you don't want to watch, then I fully understand. But obviously, we cover other news and stuff that would not spoil that for you. So,
Sure. Mendoza, I'm with you.
I hear that a bit.
Yeah,
I do love the games. Not a fan of the show. And then of course we do have our high Kens, of which I love, and of which I love the fact that Ken also gets it right, like totally gets it. It's great. And then Stu chiming in says, can't end it without a big Hoosiers. Yeah, I watch Pat McAfee almost every day, and they gassing it up, but that's because their show is based out of Indy. He played in Indy for the Colts, and so of course they're going to be talking about the Hoosiers. And that was a fun game as we kind of finish it up tonight. Did you watch the game last night, Matthew? Did you get to see the national championship game?
No, unfortunately, I don't get to watch many sport games at this point.
Oh, damn it. Well, I got to tell you, if you were watching somebody stream, you probably could have taken your phone and turned it on, and watched the game. I'm just saying.
So, when I'm sitting there watching TV with the wife and then listening to a YouTube stream at the same time, and
Nope, I get it. No, I get it. Yep. But no, it was a very good game. It was a very good game. I did not think it was going to be that, and it turned out to be so. And so far, the NFL postseason, we've had way more bangers than not in games. It's been a lot of fun. And Indiana got their toughest test last night, and it was good, man. Great finish, man. Very exciting. Matthew trying to stay married. Well, I got to tell you though, there's a lot of times where it's like, well, yeah, and then all of a sudden I see him in a chat on a stream, and I'm like, now wait a minute, what are you doing? Hang on a second. Where are you doing there, buddy?
I'm all over the place, I'm just,
That's the word on the street, folks. You should have seen him in his younger days. And then Tristan, little Easter egg. I love the capitals there. Remember old Maester Aemon Targaryen of the Night's Watch mentioned about having to look after his little brother.
And if you remember in Game of Thrones, Joffrey makes mention of Sir Duncan the Tall when he's trying to humiliate his uncle father. And he says, oh, look, 4 pages on Sir Duncan the Tall and none on you, loser.
That's good shit. There's so many things when you go back and watch Game of Thrones, so many lines of dialogue and references to people and houses and events and stuff. And, unless you'd read the books, you don't have context, right? But what I did enjoy back in those days, and I miss that about fandom, where when Lost was on, you remember the numbers? People were playing the lottery using those numbers. People were trying to look up, what do they mean? I used to go to the websites that would have the little videos and and it was just so much fun delving into the mystery of everything. And I miss that, because even though we're connected now, we have all this at our fingertips, it doesn't feel like people are as into discovering those things. And it's because a lot of what we're given now doesn't evoke that kind of feeling for people.
Yeah. I could never
show.
get into Lost because it was Jar Jar Abrams. But
at that time, I didn't know, there was nothing he had done for me that I was aware of where I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
The one property that I really liked of his was Fringe. And then it ended so poorly. I'm like, meh.
Fringe was fun.
I did like 95% of Fringe.
Yeah, it was. But it also got goofy.
Yep.
And
it had G.I. Joes in it.
Obviously did too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I did. I liked Fringe, and one day I'll tell you the story how about I happened upon Fringe without knowing anything about Fringe, and how I happened upon watching it a lot. But that's a story for another day. And let's see. Yeah, the show should be a bit cheaper. Yeah, without the drag. No, they're able to produce this show and make it cheaper. And Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and I think that's why they're like, hey, let's do all 3 seasons.
Yeah,
and
they should be able to get all 3 seasons. I think that I hope that this first season will be a success enough to make the 3rd, because I believe that they've already greenlit season 2. I haven't heard anything yet, but I believe that they've already basically greenlit season 2.
Yeah. And it's funny, now that the show is upon us, I remember the news about, which ones, because remember they announced like 5 different spinoffs.
Yeah.
And then they called it, right? And then but I remember the news.
The Blood Moon. Remember the Blood Moon?
Oh, dude. Yes, absolutely. But I'm glad.
That was a messy night.
I'm glad we're getting some more stuff. And again, if it's, quality storytelling, I'm all in for it. So yeah, and then Tristan Braun was a fan favorite, obviously.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, and his notorious hateful relationship with what's her name, because they actually dated in real life.
Oh,
Lena Headey.
Lena Headey, yes. Oh gosh, yes. Can you imagine working on a set and
with your ex that you absolutely hate?
Oh God, man! And having them in an act, and of course, actors or
be civil enough to do that.
Oh my God! So emotional scenes and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. For real. I can't even imagine. Yeah, and Mendoza, yeah.
Well, these are my dragons right now. So, the kimono dragons.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, that was the thing, right? Never could be on set together. It's I'm sure there are restraining orders maybe involved with.
There were, yes, there was all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Stu for lunch. We are absolutely wrapping it up because it is time to go. We've been on long enough, and I mentioned earlier that. And you have a good night, Stu. I will be doing an unfiltered tomorrow afternoon before I go on with my cousin tomorrow night on his channel, 3-Star Draw for Seven's Wild. We're going to be going through the Energon comic, the G.I. Joe Energon comic, and talking about kind of what the setup is and what's going on there. Show some panels, just kind of discuss it. Maybe some other toy news, this and that, have a little chat. But yeah, I'll be on at 5 Eastern tomorrow on my channel for Unfiltered. I've got some stuff to talk about. Set the stream up. I don't have a thumbnail, but I'm not that worried about it. But just so you guys know, if you want to drop by, please drop by. But yeah, that's about it for us, man. You know where to find Matthew on the Instagrams. Please go check out his toy photography. And come catch me tomorrow afternoon if you ain't doing nothing, as we like to say it down here in the South. But yeah, that's been the Evening Blend this Tuesday. From one buzz bomb to another. You guys have a good night, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.